time she came out. During the Kavanaugh cases, she wanted to see and hear the witnesses. And during this coup, during the Ukrainian impeachment hoax that they pulled, she demanded to come out. She wanted to hear the witnesses speak. She said it was her absolute United States duty as a senator, and I'm demanding her to come out right now to a podium. Find a podium somewhere, Susan Collins, so you can come out. I want you to demand to listen. Demand to listen to these witnesses that are.
When the phone don't ring, you'll know it's Susan Collins. You know that, right?
Oh, I know, but still, I have to call her out because she's my senator. I just threw her a vote. Well, now I'm asking her right now, please come out and demand to listen to these witnesses because they're putting their lives at jeopardy right now. They have nothing to gain, gain, but everything to lose, and it's just upsetting.
Thanks for the call, Alan. Speaking of the Ukrainian hoax, did you see that Jerry Nadler? He was the one who was in charge, more so than Adam Schiff. He was in charge of promoting the Ukrainian phone call hoax, and last year, and. Now he's angry that Barr has made John Durham a special counsel to investigate the Russian collusion hoax, the earlier hoax. House Judiciary Chairman Jerry Nadler says that Mr. Barr just wants to settle old scores. Again, projection by the Democrats. What was the Ukrainian phone call hoax? What was the Russian collusion hoax? It was settling old scores. So now they're trying to get to the bottom of this scandal, and all that Jerry Nadler can say is they're trying to settle old scores. It seems appropriate to settle old scores, doesn't it? Karen, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Karen.
Howie, I like you so much. You're a patriot. Thank you.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie.
Here at the Howie Carr Radio Network, we're all about saving you money. We want you to cut out the middleman and buy direct from our great sponsors. And to help you save, I've put together a cheat sheet. For instance, if you go to EdenPure.com, you'll find the Thunderstorm Air Purifier, and you can save $10 using code Howie. You can also get Eden Pure's Gen 30 heater and save even more money with code Howie Deal. Do you have a dirty, dingy carpet that could use some freshening up? Head over to Genesis950.com, use code Howie, and get a gallon of their cleaner, free shipping, and other goodies with code Howie. Put a little pep in your step with Super Beats. Get more bang for your buck and do some good for your heart by going to superbeatsradio.com/Howie. While you're at it, give your ears a treat too and listen to your favorite music and podcasts with premium earbuds from Raycon. Get them at buyraycon.com/Howie. And finally, make cooking easier with HelloFresh. They'll send you easy to follow recipes and all the ingredients you need, but only if you visit HelloFresh.com/Howie. Cut out the middleman, save money, and take
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Hey, it's not the Howie Carr Show. It's my show. And I brought my own music.
She's the Boston Herald's wittiest wordsmith, the last woman standing at the Whiskey Priest, the Archduchess of the AM airwaves. Once a very legitimate magazine that we definitely didn't make up named her the Michael Jordan of radio. Wait, don't you think we're laying it on a little thick here, Grace?
Just stick to the script.
Oh, okay. Get ready, Boston. Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio, it's the Grace Curley Show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Grace Curley Show. I'm so excited to be here today on this beautiful Friday in New England. We have a lot to get to as usual. But the story I want to start with is the story of John Sullivan. I'm sure some of you saw this if you're on Twitter or, if you really keep up with the news. You're not going to see it on CNN or MSNBC. But there has been another arrest that has to do with the Capitol riots, and it's this man, John Sullivan. Now, originally, and I'm going to read it to you from the New York Post. Originally, he was described, he was always described as a left-wing activist, even when he went on with Anderson Cooper. But he said that the reason he was filming the riots was because he wanted to document it. He was getting footage of it. He traveled to D.C. to document this riot that was spur of the moment. But somehow he knew enough to be there to document it. Oh, yeah. So, interesting drop in there. So then what ended up happening was, in typical liberal fashion, he couldn't just get away with being in there and inciting a lot of the violence and, encouraging people. There's audio of him encouraging people to burn things and go savage and whatever the actual quotes are. We'll get to those later. But the part of it that really interests me is that wasn't enough. He had to overplay his hand. He had to go on Anderson Cooper, and he had to do interviews with the Rolling Stone and talk about himself and what he was doing as if he was a hero. He's another hero, Jared. There's so many. So an John Sullivan. So it says an anti-Trump activist from Utah who claimed he traveled to Washington, D.C. to document the violent siege on Capitol Hill was arrested Thursday. John Sullivan was taken into custody Thursday and faces charges of civil disorder, entering a restricted building and violent entry or disorderly conduct after participating in the violent mob of Trump supporters who stormed the U.S. Capitol. And the footage he provided to the FBI, which is, it really does make you question the level of intelligence here.
It's the TikTok-soaked generation that has to record everything they do. They're all movie stars.
But Jared, it's one thing to record everything you do, but to give it to the FBI and say, oh, look at these crazy Trump supporters, when your voice is in it saying, we are getting this bleep as he roamed the building and it's our house, bleep bleeps. I mean, it's pretty basic. You don't give the FBI a video of you committing a crime. You don't have to be, Einstein to think of that.
The only reason I was at the riot is so I would know how to get away from the riot. I didn't do anything.
Well, that's the part of it that's really mind-blowing. So when he did all these interviews, he was really, saying, listen, I was just there to document this and to gather the footage. And the part of it that I thought was really funny was he said that he had to blend in. I had to relate to these people and build trust in the short amount of time. To the front of the crowd to see the dynamic between the police and the protesters, because nobody wants to see the back of people's heads from a far off distance. So there he is in his gas mask, now trying to convince us that this was all, journalism. This was all to gather the info for everyone else. And it makes you wonder how much of this is going to come out. He's described as an anti-Trump activist. That's code for a Black Lives Matter instigator. He's been involved in a lot of Black Lives Matter riots and allegedly a lot of things that have not ended well. And so I love the fact that he didn't just commit this crime and give the FBI video of him committing the crime, but he went on with Anderson Cooper. And Anderson Cooper, spoiler alert, loved it. He really thought he was interviewing based off what CNN likes to say, maybe this kid would be the next president. He's the next Michael Avenatti until a day later. So that brings us to our poll question, which actually, Jared, we should just do now. By Eden Pure. Today's poll question is brought to you by the Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier. I love it for my basement to get out the damn smell. Take advantage of their New Year sale. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code GRACE to save $10 and get free shipping. Jared, what is our poll question and what are the results thus far?
Will Anderson Cooper mention John Sullivan during his show tonight?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say no.
100% of the audience says no.
And it makes me think because John Sullivan's involved in all these Black Lives Matter events. He's actually in charge of, or he founded Insurgents USA, a group that bills itself as the revolution and purports to stand against police brutality. He only attended the riot to document the violence. So it makes me think, because when those riots happened, those were all for social justice. So if John Sullivan was participating in the Capitol riots, is the mainstream media going to change how they describe these riots now?
Too peaceful? Because he's there?
It's just...
He's full Capitol insurgents?
And these mugshots. He's got crazy eyes. And a lot of people have said this. We've had a lot of callers. We have to be very careful. People call in and say, I think there was Antifa people there. I have to be very careful. But am I shocked that this came out? No. A lot of the video of people breaking into these windows with shields and masks on did not scream Trump supporters to me. But I'm just waiting to see if, all these people like Don Lemon and Anderson Cooper will issue corrections. I don't think so. In other news, Joe Biden gave a speech last night about his new economic plan, the relief bill. I think it was 1.4 trillion.
1.9.
1.9 trillion. And the coverage was amazing. I was on Twitter. I just went on Twitter and said Joe Biden, because I figure, there'll be one or two funny tweets from these journalists. Maybe they'll rein back their fawning coverage of this guy now that he's going to be president. Nope. Everybody was like, it's so comforting to see a true leader again. Thinking to myself, you guys have to get a grip. You're becoming caricatures of yourself. No one is going to watch CNN, and I fear for their... Actually, no, I don't fear for their ratings. I'm excited to see what happens. But this is about to be the most boring 4 years if you watch MSNBC and CNN. Because not only will they not criticize Joe Biden, who is ripe to be made fun of. I mean, he talks for 5 seconds and you have tons of material. They will not touch that with a 10-foot pole. And then Jack Dorsey takes Trump off Twitter. So now they have nothing to talk about. But luckily for us, we're not afraid to poke a little fun at the left. We have plenty to talk about. Guys, we will be back with Kailyn Door, former Trump administration guy, great on Twitter. Don't go anywhere. This is The Grace Curley Show.
If you're thinking of replacing your carpets due to pet stains and odors, you must try Genesis 950. Genesis 950 was my go-to product for Mr. Gooner. The reviews are amazing, as this is one product that actually works. With water, it breaks down the bonds of stains so they're gone for good. Its antibacterial component removes pet odors from carpet and padding. It can be used in a carpet cleaning machine. Genesis 950 is made here in America. It's a concentrate, so 1 gallon makes up to 7 gallons of cleaner. But Genesis 950 is not just for pet stains. I brought it to my daughter Carolyn's new home, and she loved the results. Use it in kitchens, on floors, upholstery, and on grease stains. Consider trying Genesis 950 before purchasing new carpets. It's green, so it's safe for your family and pets. Genesis 950 has great customer service. Order 1 gallon direct at genesis950.com to receive a free spray bottle, free shipping, and a $10 coupon using code Howie. Coupon only available on purchase of 1 gallon. That's genesis950.com. Genesis 950. Much cheaper than replacing your carpets.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeatsradio.com. www.superbeatsradio.com.
The Democrat Party is so full of loonies, social justice warriors, progressives, whatever you want to call them, that sometimes certain moonbats get overlooked. So let's take this moment to shine the woke spotlight on crazy Mazie Hirono.
I am not going to be a fool to Mitch McConnell's shenanigans. Why should any of us? And it's not just a dog whistle, it's a bullhorn. Bullhorns. It's racism. It's basically, for many people, it's anti-Semitic. It's white supremacy.
Why not take a stand and vote yes for it? Seems like you're trying to have it both ways, not be hung by it politically, but also not say that you don't support it.
I disagree with you, Katie, that why should we engage in the kind of sham shenanigans that Mitch McConnell is really good at? I'm confused. This was just a sham. Guess who's perpetuating all of these kinds of actions? It's the men in this country, and I just want to say to the men in this country, just shut up and step up. I think the noose is closing, and, Giuliani is like a loose cannon, and so is the president, frankly.
It's story time with Grace Curley. Tell me the story about driving back from the Matthews Brothers remote.
I was driving the mailer manager's car, and then she was driving their other car. She had Howie in her car, and I was by myself. And it was really, really, really bad. Like, I'm talking the worst conditions I've ever had to drive on in my entire life. It was so scary. I was sweating. I don't think I got home till like 3 a.m. But I was like, I have to come in tomorrow and tell the mailer manager I can't do that again. And when I came in and, I kind of built up the courage to say it, and she looked at me and she said, "You can't do that again." I was sweating. My whole back was sweating. I'm never doing that again ever. So now if there's even like a little bit of snow coming, she'll say to me, "Do you want to stay at the hotel? Or do you want to, what should we do? How should we plan for this?"
Catch all of Grace Curley's stories weekdays right before Howie from 12 to 3 on The Grace Curley Show. And follow Grace on Twitter at @G_Curley.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Let us pledge that our generation of Americans will pay any price. We shall pay any price. Bear any burden. Bear any burden. Accept any challenge and meet any hardship. Meet any hardship. To secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children. To assure the survival and the success of liberty. But this standard is not a measure of how we can evaluate the condition of our society. It cannot measure the health of our children. Yet the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children. The quality of our education. The quality of their education. The joy of their play. For the joy of their play.
Come on, man.
Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. The Aviva Trattoria studio got some delicious food delivered from Aviva today for our VIP, and it's just so good. I mean, the pizza, the chips, the homemade chips, everything. Delish. The chicken piccata. Everyone in the green room staring at me right now because they're all eating it as I speak. So thank you to Aviva for that. So our next guest is awesome on Twitter, and I have to start with that because who knows when he's going to be banned. I suspect it could be any day now. But he's also the former chief marketing officer for the Trump campaign, Kailyn Door. Thank you so much for being with us, Kailyn.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I'm great on Twitter, but I'm even better at losing Twitter followers lately.
Oh,
I'm glad. I thought I was dialing into the Trump line today, so I'm really glad I got a hold of you.
I think we're all losing followers, but according to Jake Tapper, only babies care about that. Adults don't count their followers, Kailyn. But my question for you is, what is your first reaction to Biden's economic relief package? And more importantly, something that I notice you really follow is the media's reaction to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing for people to realize is that what we're seeing broadly, in the media and on social media and everything like that is that, we've spent 4 years wrestling power away from these people, from the left-wing corporatist alliance, from your fake tappers, your Brian Stelters, And this is their reaction to that, right? They're bubble wrapping an incoming Biden administration to make sure that, nothing, you were just saying, right? The guy is boring as all get out. And, they are trying to find ways to make sure that he is not the story. I think that's something you see. I don't know if you're obviously an avid Twitter user. The Kamala Harris Vogue cover, for example. Let me ask your opinion. Does it matter to anybody what color pantsuit she's wearing for the day?
Actually,
Kailyn, that drove news on Twitter.
Actually, Kailyn, I did talk about that story on the air because I felt as though it reminded me of when my mom used to pick out Christmas cards without consulting me, and she would send it out to everyone, and I would see the photo, and I'd be like, that's the one you went with? So I kind of understood that from a female perspective. But Kailyn, you tweeted something that I hadn't seen yet, and it was Brian Stelter kind of mocking Trump for his latest address where he used a teleprompter. And I was thinking to myself, the lack of self-awareness, do they realize that Joe Biden, he couldn't do one sentence off the cuff, let alone a speech, but they are mocking Trump for using a teleprompter.
And it's absolutely insane because the guy, Joe Biden, doesn't know what he's talking about. He's taking all of his cues from a teleprompter. He's taking all of his cues from somebody, from the ingrained political establishment, right? I mean, the guy's economic package, which you just asked me about, it's absurd. It's going to kill more small businesses than it saves. A $15 minimum wage increase is absolutely insane. And then you couple that with some of the lockdown and COVID procedures you're seeing in states around the country. I understand Charlie Baker is particularly a big offender of this, and you're going to see businesses and people continue to suffer as a result. And not even to mention the fact that Democrats have held up any sort of COVID relief or economic stimulus for however many months now, but they got around to impeaching the president in the House in a matter of days.
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder. It makes you wonder about their priorities. The other thing I wanted to ask you about, Kailyn, is this story about John Sullivan. I mean, it's all over Twitter. It's not really all over the news stations because they don't want to talk about it. But this man, who is described as a left-wing activist, was really egging on these people at the Capitol. Do you think this is the only story we're going to hear about this?
Well, I love how you mentioned that, we'll be looking forward to an Avenatti Sullivan ticket at some point or another. I mean, they're going to, the media has spent, and again, I'll preface all this by saying, what happened last week was, truly, it was horrific. The president has obviously condemned all the violence that took place. But, the left-wing media is very keen to glorify these protests, to glorify these individuals when it fits their needs, right? They move in lockstep with the left. And, I mean, yeah, it's a short answer to your question is, yes, this is probably going to be the last thing we see of John Sullivan. I know I actually just saw on Twitter a minute ago, John Sullivan was in a Uber commercial, a year or so ago. I mean, the guy has been around. And for them to bill him the way that they did on Anderson Cooper's show, to talk to him, to even allow him to interview with, the Rolling Stone. I mean, they're all just tanking their credibility in a way that is really sad. I mean, the media has a due diligence to cover these things appropriately, especially given how tense everything is. I mean, I'm living in D.C. right now, and it's not great. I mean, there's the National Guard out on the streets and all that, and tensions are high, and so they're just absolutely. It's just a miscarriage of justice. They're not doing their jobs. And it's just gross. It's just disgusting. Yeah, and there's some stories when you hear them, and you don't have to be a journalist or Sherlock Holmes or anything. You hear it and you go, that sounds kind of weird. Like this guy was at D.C. to document the riots that nobody knew were going to happen until they happened. And it reminds me of things like the Jussie Smollett story where things don't add up, but these journalists, they don't want to take any time to question them because it fits their narrative so well. So they just run with it right away. Well, yeah, and then even had they done their due diligence on any of this, you mean to tell me that it's okay to take this man's word for what he's saying? Where for the last 4 years the president makes a joke and they treat it like the sky is falling. It's just the double standard, the mental gymnastics that you have to do to understand the logic at play here is just truly, it's exhausting. No, I totally agree. American people are definitely understanding that. Yeah.
Kailyn, I'm talking to Kailyn Door. You can find him on Twitter at KDoor, DORR_USA. Kailyn, there's a shift now that's happening, and the timing is amazing. It's so coincidental. All of a sudden, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot and Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York, they're all saying, we have to open up. If we don't open up now, there's going to be nothing left to open up. And then a story comes out of Newsweek where it says, COVID lockdowns have no clear benefit versus other voluntary measures, international study shows. Does the timing of this surprise you at all?
No, absolutely not. I think this is definitely a coordinated effort. They've been playing politics. The left has been playing politics with this virus, this pandemic, almost the entire time. You look at it. I like to think that in this most recent election, we weren't necessarily running against Joe Biden at times. We were actually running against the virus itself, and trying to manage that. And we're running against an opponent who, obviously earned $5 and earned media coverage every time someone put a mask on. It's truly horrific. But you see the shift in tone to ending lockdowns also coincide with the fact that the media is no longer talking daily about how many COVID deaths there are and shaming the president about it. It makes one wonder, right? And this is truly, I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but it would seem to be that there's some sort of coordinated effort at play here.
Yeah, and speaking of that, as someone who's in the marketing world, I'm sure that you've thought a lot about big tech and Jack Dorsey. Do you think there's anything that can be done or should be done so that free speech is protected, or do you think that what Jack Dorsey did to Trump by banning him is just what we're going to see more of going forward?
I wouldn't. I'm not the kind of person who's going to sit here and say the sky is falling. I hope, from the bottom of my heart that we don't see, the mass canceling of conservatives, across the board. But it's not only happening on Twitter; it's happening in real life. And I think those things coming together mean that we're probably looking at a world in which they're going to continue to deplatform and delegitimize conservatives because they're the other, right? They're all on one side, and there's this roving band of conservative folks who just happens to be, upwards of 75 million people who voted for the president. It's just absurd. And, you're seeing it in real life, too. It's not just what's happening on Twitter. I think that was what struck me about Jack's statement yesterday. He tweeted out about, having the real life consequences of what happens on the internet. And what we're seeing is, there's countless stories about people from the Trump administration who have been unable to get jobs, or, I've been at this down the street. I went to print my resume at a Kinko's the other day, and the lady, called me a racist pig because she saw it was on my resume. It's never gonna stop, Grace. And I think what we're seeing is real life is being reflected on the internet and vice versa. And, it wouldn't surprise me to see him continue down this path. Now, hopefully, I think Congress and the president have been very vocal about, ways to amend, Section 230, but, it may even have to go farther than that. I'm not sure. I'm not an expert on social media, but, again, it's mirroring real life, and it's going to get, really, really scary because it's not a minority that believes these things.
And it's also, we saw with Ben Shapiro yesterday, he wrote a newsletter for Politico. It's called Their Playbook. And it was all about that. And it was really about how, some conservatives who didn't vote to impeach Trump don't necessarily agree with everything Trump does, but they see this as more of a coordinated effort to silence Republicans. And what ended up happening was Politico and their newsroom freaked out because some of the liberal snowflakes, I can't think of a better word for it, didn't like that Ben Shapiro was allowed to write their newsletter.
Yeah, no, and my favorite part about this entire story is that Chris Hayes, the MSNBC guy, was on, he was a guest author earlier in the week, and that guy is legit nuts. He's out tweeting every day about how anyone who voted for Trump has blood on their hands, and attacking conservative columnists on Twitter with seemingly no basis. The guy is crazy, but no one had any objections then. God forbid a conservative take the pen and write a morning newsletter that is read on on Capitol Hill. And I think, I'm not sure how wide their viewership is. I know it's a big deal here in D.C. That's where all the, establishment folks like to submit their names for the daily birthday list and things like that. So I know it's pretty well read here, but I mean, it's an echo chamber, right? It's all the establishment folks, the libs, for lack of a better term, and they're just, triggering one another.
And it's so funny because, he really was saying, listen, we can't be afraid of other opinions. And their immediate reaction was, we're afraid of your opinion. You're too dangerous. We need to end this. We need to
do a Zoom call with everybody.
Right. And then two people on the Zoom call said, I disagreed with their decision, but I was too afraid to offer my opinion because it seemed like everyone in the Zoom call was, against Ben Shapiro and the newsletter decision. And I'm just thinking to myself, this is where we're at with civil discourse. This is where we're at with free speech. It's really frightening. Guys, I'm talking to Kailyn Door. Make sure you guys check him out at KDoor, DORR_USA. Kailyn, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you join the Grace Curley Show again in the future.
Absolutely, Grace. Thanks for having me on. Y'all have a good one.
You too. Guys, I have to let you know that people say there's no such thing as a free lunch, but our VIP right now is about to realize that there is such thing as a free lunch, and it can be delicious. That's because with my friends at Aviva Trattoria, we'll be giving away a free lunch every other Friday here at the studio. 2 lucky listeners will have an incredible meal by Aviva and watch the show with me in studio. All you have to do to enter is go to gracecurleyshow.com and sign up. I'll select the winners on every other Friday. Today I was blown away by the spread. I mean, Jared, you got a better look at it than I did, but describe to us what's going on out there.
So we know we love the chicken parm. They also have chicken piccata, which they brought, which is fantastic. They have the arancini, which are the Italian rice balls, for those who don't know.
I saw those.
They do pizzas as well. They brought a buffalo chicken pizza and what they call their farmhouse pizza, which has balsamic barbecue, cheddar cheese, roasted chicken, smoked bacon, leeks, and honey mustard on it. They brought a couple of sandwiches in, like they have panini sandwiches. I mean, it's a solid spread. The
VIPs will be happy.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing, and they're so great. They have 4 convenient locations in Marlborough, Maynard, Wrentham, and Westford. Takeout is available, too. So to enter, go to gracecurleyshow.com. You will see that pop down. And I think what we're going to start doing is we're going to pick the winners, and then we're going to let the winners go to the menu for Aviva.
Nice.
And kind of look at, what's the...
that is VIP.
What is the actual URL, Jared? Do you have it up there? I noticed that you were looking at the menu earlier.
AvivaTrattoria.com.
Perfect. And they can go check it out and see what kind of food they would like for their free lunch and in-studio experience at The Grace Curley Show. Guys, we will be right back. This is The Grace Curley Show.
You're listening to The Grace Curley Show.
This hour of The Grace Curley Show is brought to you in part by the Follansbee Inn in North Sutton, New Hampshire. Do what I did and enjoy this beautiful inn. To reserve your room, go to follansbeeinn.com.
The Moonbats always say Donald Trump isn't very bright. But what about Barack Hussein Obama? Let's listen to some of his greatest hits.
I've now been in 57 states. I think 1 left to go. I don't know what the term is in Austrian.
The Cambridge police acted stupidly.
And there has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton. There are neighborhoods around the country where it is easier for a 12 or 13-year-old to purchase a gun and cheaper than it is for them to get a book.
I believe in the Second Amendment. It's there written on the paper.
If we fall for, a bunch of okey doke. A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia, not Al Qaeda. You said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
If you're thinking of replacing your carpets due to pet stains and odors, you must try Genesis 950. The reviews are amazing, as this is one product that actually works. With water, it breaks down the bonds of stains and odors so they are gone for good. Its antibacterial component moves pet odors from carpets and padding.
It can be used in a carpet cleaning machine, and it's green, so it's safe for your family and pets. Genesis 950 is made in America. If you are tired of pet cleaners that don't work, it's time to buy Genesis 950. 1 gallon of industrial strength Genesis 950 makes up to 7 gallons of cleaner. But Genesis 950 is not just for pet stains. It's great for bathrooms, kitchens, floors, upholstery, and grease stains. Consider Genesis 950 before purchasing new carpets. Genesis 950 has great customer service. Order 1 gallon direct at genesis950.com to receive a free spray bottle, free shipping, and a $10 coupon using code GRACE. That's genesis950.com. Coupon only available for 1 gallon purchase. Genesis 950. Much cheaper than replacing your carpets.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just 1 scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
Grace Curley. She's here for the love.
Would I rather be feared or loved? Easy, both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Grace Curley Show. That food is just, I promise I'm not going to talk about it all day long, but I just had one of those arancini balls. Yum. Delish. All right, guys, so we did talk a little bit here about John Sullivan, the far-left agitator who was at the Capitol, and the quotes are really amazing. The quotes of the video that he gave to the FBI, they're just, we got to burn this. We got to burn this bleep. We got to get this bleep burned, he said in one of the segments. Now, this is where it's interesting. Both Sullivan brothers are the subjects of a documentary about their staunch political differences by a woman named Jade Sacker, who can be seen celebrating the Capitol invasion in some of the Sullivans' footage. She says, "We did it." So that's also a little bit concerning. You did what?
I'll give you your hug now. We did it. You were right. We did it.
Dude, I was trying to tell you. I couldn't say much.
You were right.
Yeah, it's... can I get the crickets? Because that's what I think I'm going to hear on Anderson Cooper tonight. So we have a really big show planned. We have John Hinderaker coming on in the next hour, and also Toby from Cape Gunworks. But I do want to talk a little bit here about the Jack Dorsey video that Project Veritas leaked or released yesterday. Let's play some of this sound. Let's play cut 1. This is Jack Dorsey, CEO of Twitter, in a Zoom meeting with his employees, talking about how, even though they're focusing on Donald Trump's account right now, they will be focusing on others in the future. This is cut 1.
We do intend to do the full retro, as I said in my note. It is going to take some time. And then the other thing, just to close out a little bit, we are focused on one account right now, but this is going to be much bigger than just one account, and it's going to go on for much longer than just this day, this week.
I fully believe him. I think it's going to be. And we had Kailyn Door on last segment, and I do understand what he's saying. You don't want to be catastrophic. You don't want to say the sky is falling. We don't want to be like the left. But I do think that banning Donald Trump will go down in history as one of the worst. Forget free speech moves. I'm talking business moves. We talked about it a lot yesterday. So much of what was going to help CNN and MSNBC in the next 4 years. Because like Kailyn said, they're not going to talk about Joe Biden. They're not going to talk about how he's struggling to, put a sentence together, or how, they're going to talk about his socks and his milkshakes and his cat that's going to be in the White House. But what they could do was, for the next 4 years, they could say, oh, Trump tweeted this, Trump tweeted that. He's just as despicable as ever. But now what are they going to do? Is Brian Stelter going to do full segments on, I feel like Trump, if he still was on Twitter, would have said this about this?
Probably. Let's be honest.
They're going to need to fill so much time because they spent the last 4 years obsessed with Donald Trump. And I'm starting to see that this Pelosi move is backfiring in such a big way. I've seen it on the TVs all day talking about, her priorities being questioned. Her only priority for the last 4 years and going forward is one thing, and that's get Donald Trump. And it's proving to be difficult because based off the latest Gallup poll, his approval rating is a lot better than those people in Congress and the media. We'll be right back, guys, with many more guests. This is The Grace Curley Show.
Here at the Howie Carr Radio Network, we're all about saving you money. We want you to cut out the middleman and buy direct from our great sponsors. And to help you save, I've put together a cheat sheet. For instance, if you go to EdenPure.com, you'll find the Thunderstorm Air Purifier, and you can save $10 using code Howie. You can also get Eden Pure's Gen 30 heater and save even more money with code Howie Deal. Do you have a dirty, dingy carpet that could use some freshening up? Head over to Genesis950.com, use code Howie, and get a gallon of their cleaner, free shipping, and other goodies with code Howie. Put a little pep in your step with Super Beats. Get more bang for your buck and do some good for your heart by going to superbeatsradio.com/Howie. While you're at it, give your ears a treat too and listen to your favorite music and podcasts with premium earbuds from Raycon. Get them at buyraycon.com/Howie. And finally, make cooking easier with HelloFresh. They'll send you easy to follow recipes and all the ingredients you need, but only if you visit HelloFresh.com/Howie. Cut out the middleman, save money, and take advantage of these deals now. Here at the Howie Carr Radio Network, we're all about saving you money. We want you to cut out the middleman and buy direct from our great sponsors. And to help you save, I've put together a cheat sheet. For instance, if you go to EdenPure.com, you'll find the Thunderstorm Air Purifier, and you can save $10 using code Howie. You can also get Eden Pure's Gen 30 heater and save even more money with code Howie Deal. Do you have a dirty, dingy carpet that could use some freshening up? Head over to Genesis950.com, use code Howie, and get a gallon of their cleaner, free shipping, and other goodies with code Howie. Put a little pep in your step with Super Beats. Get more bang for your buck and do some good for your heart by going to superbeatsradio.com/Howie. While you're at it, give your ears a treat too and listen to your favorite music and podcasts with premium earbuds from Raycon. Get them at buyraycon.com/Howie. And finally, make cooking easier with HelloFresh. They'll send you easy to follow recipes and all the ingredients you need, but only if you visit HelloFresh.com/Howie. Cut out the middleman, save money, and take advantage of these deals now. Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Let us pledge that our generation of Americans will pay any price. We shall pay any price. Bear any burden. Bear any burden. Accept any challenge and meet any hardship. Meet any hardship. To secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children. To assure the survival and the success of liberty.
But this standard is not a measure of how we can evaluate the condition of our society. It cannot measure the health of our children.
Yet the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children.
The quality of our education.
The quality of their education.
The joy of their play.
For the joy of their play.
Come on, man.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie. And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and, Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Let us pledge that our generation of Americans will pay any price.
We shall pay any price,
Bear any burden.
bear any burden,
Accept any challenge and meet any hardship.
meet any hardship,
To secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children.
to assure the survival and the success of liberty.
But this standard is not a measure of how we can evaluate the condition of our society. It cannot measure the health of our children.
Yet the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children,
The quality of our education,
the quality of their education,
the joy of their play,
or the joy of their play.
Come on, man.
Normally, we give Fredo Cuomo a lot of attention, but lately it's Governor Andrew Cuomo who's been grabbing headlines. Let's take a listen to some of his best moments.
You're an essential worker, so go take a job as an essential worker.
But the people aren't hiring because of...
No, there are people hiring. You can get a job as an essential worker. So now you can go to work and you can be an essential worker and you're not going to kill anyone. The number is down because we brought the number down. God did not do that. Fate did not do that. Destiny did not do that. We're not going to make America great again. It was never that great. Because I can also see you're in masterful shape, buff even. It has a very nice floral bouquet. A little I detected lilac, hydrangea, tulips. What does it smell like to you? Tulips, yes. Floral bouquet.
Because if that's who they are, and if they are the extreme conservatives, they have no place in the state of New York.
Here at the Howie Carr Radio Network, we're all about saving you money. We want you to cut out the middleman and buy direct from our great sponsors. And to help you save, I've put together a cheat sheet. For instance, if you go to EdenPure.com, you'll find the Thunderstorm Air Purifier, and you can save $10 using code Howie. You can also get Eden Pure's Gen 30 heater and save even more money with code Howie Deal. Do you have a dirty, dingy carpet that could use some freshening up? Head over to Genesis950.com, use code Howie, and get a gallon of their cleaner, free shipping, and other goodies with code Howie. Put a little pep in your step with Super Beats. Get more bang for your buck and do some good for your heart by going to superbeatsradio.com/Howie. While you're at it, give your ears a treat too and listen to your favorite music and podcasts with premium earbuds from Raycon. Get them at buyraycon.com/Howie. And finally, make cooking easier with HelloFresh. They'll send you easy to follow recipes and all the ingredients you need, but only if you visit HelloFresh.com/Howie. Cut out the middleman, save money, and take advantage of these deals now.
You guys have heard me talk about super beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why super beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of super beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a super beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind super beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind super beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Hey, it's not the Howie Carr Show. It's my show. And I brought my own music.
She's the Boston Herald's wittiest wordsmith, the last woman standing at the Whiskey Priest, the Archduchess of the AM airwaves. Once a very legitimate magazine that we definitely didn't make up named her the Michael Jordan of radio. Wait, don't you think we're laying it on a little thick here, Grace?
Just stick to the script.
Oh, okay. Get ready, Boston. Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio, it's the Grace Curley Show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Grace Curley Show. Happy Friday. We've earned this Friday. It's been quite the week. And we're doing a Grace's Goodies today, which is really exciting. But this Grace's Goodies needs a little bit of an introduction because it's Cape Gun Works and there's a lot of gun news right now. And I wanted to talk to Toby Leary from Cape Gun Works about some of it. Thank you for being with me, Toby.
Hey, Grace, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on. So I want to start with my question about gun control. Obviously, gun sales have been at a record high over the past couple of months, but Joe Biden is really pledging, and I'm going to read you something here that I hadn't seen until today. He said, as president, I pledge to continue to work together with Congresswoman Giffords and with survivors, families, and advocates across the country to defeat the NRA and end gun violence in America. What do you have to say about that, Toby? Are you nervous about the incoming administration and, people's right to bear arms?
Yeah, well, in the second Obama term, there was a lot of chatter about gun control and whatnot, and it turned into Obama being the gun salesman of the decade. I mean, there was, guns were sold at a faster rate under the Obama administration than any other president or any other time in our history. And Joe Biden just told Obama, hold my beer. You haven't seen anything yet. And that's exactly what's going on right now. So the amount of legislation that is being proposed or talked about is unbelievable. And it is so far-reaching, it would totally change the way the Second Amendment is in our country forever. And so there's good reason to be nervous about that. And I'm not an alarmist by any stretch of the imagination. I don't try to play off people's emotions about it. And I don't have to, frankly, because the media is doing a very good job of it right now. But when he takes someone like Beto O'Rourke, who said in the debate, hell yeah, we're coming for your AR-15s and your AK-47s, and appoints him his gun control czar, what more needs to be said? He is coming hard and fast for our Second Amendment freedoms. It's no secret. This is the first time they've campaigned on that overtly. Normally they kind of do it with some subtlety and say things like, oh, common sense, gun control, blah, blah, blah. And, we got to keep, this out of the hands of, criminals and felons, which everybody agrees with.
Right.
This time it was, no, we're coming for your guns. We're going to go door to door. We're going to force you into a buyback. It's just crazy. And, I didn't think the world or the country was receptive to that. And, but, they're moving forward. They're marching on. So here we are.
I mean, in Beto's defense, at least he said it correctly. I think Joe Biden had called them AR-14s at one point. So at least he knew what he was talking about to some degree. But I wanted to read you this, Toby. This is from the Washington Post. It's a labor organizer actually was criticizing Biden's plan. And the person said, Biden's plan falls into a long line of government efforts to disarm the working class while keeping the lanes clear for the privileged who can afford whatever legal curveballs are thrown their way. This divisive plan will do little to curb gun violence and will instead hammer home the vast inequalities still dividing this nation. It's less to me about, scaring people, but it's more to open people's eyes to this is not going to do what they think it's going to do. This is not going to keep guns out of the hands of criminals if you go after the NRA.
Correct. Yeah, the 94 assault weapons ban that was done by the Clinton administration had a 10-year sunset provision, and it was contingent upon it actually reducing gun violence. Well, at the end of 10 years, they did the study and realized it didn't do a dang thing to reduce gun violence in America. It never does. It's not about that. But at least the politicians that voted it in 94 had the foresight to say, all right, we'll give you one here and we'll track it and see if it actually does reduce gun violence, even though that's irrelevant to the Second Amendment. But they at least wanted to track it and apply it to something. So at the end of the 10 years, they go, yeah, there's no change in violent gun use. So we're going to make this go away. And they did. It sunset and it went away, except for in Massachusetts, we made it permanent. So this is not going to do a thing to make you safer. It never does. Gun violence actually does the opposite. Gun control does the opposite. If you look at Chicago should be ground zero. It should be the mecca for gun control working, but it doesn't. Every weekend, 50 or 80 people are gunned down and all kinds of gun violence, but it has some of the most stringent gun control regulations in the country. So
it's almost like
it's obvious it doesn't work.
It's almost like it's all talking points, and it's all something that these politicians can go around talking about forever and ever, knowing that it's not actually going to do any good. And it reminds me a lot of other laws, too, where people just want to put things on the book that they can't enforce and they can't see through, but it makes them feel good and it makes their, the fringe of their party feel better.
Right. That's exactly what it is. It's a solution in search of a problem. And the problem to gun violence isn't taking guns away from law-abiding citizens. It's enforcing the laws of the land. We don't have the stomach to put people away for a long time who use guns illegally. We never do. We never do it. In this state, we have a 1-year mandatory minimum sentence for anyone who uses a gun in the commission of a crime or is a felon in possession of a gun. And it's been used maybe a handful of times in the decades that it's been in power. If it really got applied the way it should, the guy who killed Officer Gannon down here in South Yarmouth would have been doing a 30-year bid because he got arrested prior with 30 illegal guns. So he should have been in jail for a year mandatory minimum for each one of those counts. But the problem is we plea bargain him out. We say, we reduce it to a lesser charge, or he gets out on good behavior, whatever the case might be. We have no stomach or resolve to lock violent criminals and felons up for a long time in jail where they should be. And then COVID rolls around and we let them out.
Right. And we prioritize their vaccines over elderly people who are in nursing homes. There's a lot of problems with COVID, especially in Massachusetts. I'm talking to Toby Leary from Cape Gunworks in Hyannis right now. He's an expert on all things firearms. Toby, I want to read you some of these statistics. 21 million firearms were sold in 2020. That figure includes 8 million first-time gun buyers. And the part that I find interesting is of those first-time buyers, 40% are women. So as someone who sells guns, at your store and sells ammunition and sees people coming in and out, have you been seeing this? Like, what is it? What are you seeing in your store as far as the energy and the enthusiasm for owning firearms?
Well, that's a great point. Women are by far the fastest growing demographic with the gun industry. And what happens is at first they'll come in, thinking they need a gun for security purposes and, to kind of level the playing field in the grand scheme of things. They will go through the licensing process and then, women are very good about, once they get into something, they don't just buy a gun, take it home, throw it in the safe. Like, I used to do that as a gun collector for years. They actually want to learn about it. They want to take a class. They want to learn how to shoot efficiently and safely. They'll buy a holster. They'll take classes and private lessons. And so they end up becoming very passionate about it, and they end up, it becomes a lifestyle change for a lot of the women who are buying guns. And it's not just a new hobby, it's a new way of life. They're starting to think about their safety and security. They're starting to think about their rights a lot differently than they used to. And some women, used to just believe in the right to keep and bear arms, but now they're partaking in that right. And they are very passionate and enthusiastically getting involved. And they're even, shooting recreationally. They realize it's a fun hobby to get involved with, not to mention a way to keep themselves safe. And so, yeah, it's been great. We have tons of couples. We have tons of women. Every class, probably, I would say 50 to 60% of every class we do right now is women. And it's a welcome sight here in our store. And we have a lot of couples, a lot of kids in the store, a lot of women get involved. And I think it's great. And they're really getting empowered and taking responsibility for their own safety. So
leave it to the ladies. We don't just, we do everything we do. We got to perfect it. We got to make it just right. So we're not just going to get a gun. We're going to become the best shooter possible. Some of us are even better at shooting than our bosses. But I don't want to get into that because, I don't want to get in trouble here. But Toby, I wanted to ask you something else. You guys are great on social media. If anyone wants to check them out, it's keepgunworks.com. But you guys are also on Instagram, on Facebook. I know you send out newsletters. So I saw this news story about MailChimp boots gun rights group. And MailChimp, which is a very popular way of sending out emails to, your entire list of people, MailChimp blocked Virginia's top gun rights group from sending newsletters through its service for unspecified reasons. There was no justification. That was what the president of the group said. They provided nothing. Basically, they just said, we need to get our stuff and be prepared to move on. Do you worry about this, about being censored on social media or a crackdown as far as your free speech is concerned?
Yeah, it's been something we've done, we've battled with, especially with Facebook over the years. It got to the point where I couldn't even comment on one of my own posts before I had a former Facebook employee run it up the ladder with people he knew that was able to get some of the features unlocked on my site. But yeah, we've been met with resistance when it comes to social media. When it comes to we still could not boost a post on Instagram or Facebook. You can't. YouTube demonetized a lot of the channels, and this is just the latest part of the purge where they're starting to silence anybody who doesn't believe the same as big tech, and they're booting off people off their servers, as we see with Parler and But specifically with gun-friendly sites, AR15.com was one that their servers got pulled from them, and now the whole MailChimp thing. And I know GoDaddy is another one that has been, pushing, people off their platform. So it's only a matter of time, I think, that you're gonna comply or you're gonna be banned from the site altogether.
I would agree with that. It's a sad truth, but I would agree. So everybody listen up. Toby is going to be on in the next segment. We have an unbelievable Grace's Goodies. I'm going to save it for the next segment, Toby, but I want people to know that if you have ever tried to get a cheap Aster deal, you know that they run out. If not the fastest, he's one of the top 3 fastest. People just go on and they grab these and then they're gone. So get ready. Go to gracecurleyshow.com to get ready for Grace's Goodies. 844-500-4242. And I think what we're going to do, Toby, if it's okay with you, I know so many people. So I called my fiance today and I said, do you have any, he's trying to, get a firearm. And I said, do you have any questions for Toby? And he called me up and he said, I have a lot of specific questions. And then he kept going and going. And I said, I got to go. I said, I got work to do here. But it made me think. I said, I should open up the phone lines because people always have questions about this. 844-500-4242. We're going to be back with Toby to do Grace's Goodies. And we're also going to take your calls if you have any questions about firearms or ammunition, anything like that. This is The Grace Curley Show.
The Grace Curley Show will be right back.
This hour of The Grace Curley Show is brought to you in part by Old New England Soap. Try the new Woodwick soy candles that burn up to 100 hours. Right now, buy 3, get 1 free, plus free shipping on orders over $45 at oldnewenglandsoap.com. That's oldnewenglandsoap.com.
Alexander Hamilton said, "Those who stand for nothing will fall for anything." This is Toby from Cape Gunworks. When our founding fathers drafted the Second Amendment, there was no question of its meaning. Today, if you have questions, come to Cape Gunworks for some advice, training, or to send a few rounds downrange. We have a fully stocked pro shop with a huge selection of guns, crossbows, archery, classes, rentals, a 15-lane range, and a friendly staff. Come on down to Cape Gunworks, Airport Road, Hyannis, or capegunworks.com.
You may have heard that many of the RV and camping shows have been canceled, but don't worry. Cold Springs RV is happy to announce the New England RV Show. This is Howie Carr, and if you're a camper, I've got 2 words of advice for you. Buy early. With the popularity of camping growing and manufacturers' constraints, the earlier you shop, the better. Visit Cold Springs RV in Ware, New Hampshire to make sure you get spring delivery. Go to newenglandrvshow.com to learn about this safe show.
If you're thinking of replacing your carpets due to pet stains and odors, you must try Genesis 950. The reviews are amazing, as this is one product that actually works. With water, it breaks down the bonds of stains and odors so they are gone for good. Its antibacterial component moves pet odors from carpets and padding. It can be used in a carpet cleaning machine, and it's green, so it's safe for your family and pets. Genesis 950 is made in America. If you are tired of pet cleaners that don't work, it's time to buy Genesis 950. 1 gallon of industrial strength Genesis 950 makes up to 7 gallons of cleaner. But Genesis 950 is not just for pet stains. It's great for bathrooms, kitchens, floors, upholstery, and grease stains. Consider Genesis 950 before purchasing new carpets. Genesis 950 has great customer service. Order 1 gallon direct at genesis950.com to receive a free spray bottle, free shipping, and a $10 coupon using code GRACE. That's genesis950.com. Coupon only available for 1 gallon purchase. Genesis 950. Much cheaper than replacing your carpets.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey everybody, Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
I got a text message the other day from a friend of mine who is no fan of most of what I've done over the course of the past 10 months.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power, and the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
And he was texting me from the hospital during a moment when he wasn't on a machine. And he got it at an event where no one wore masks. And he said, now that I have it, I get how brutal this can be.
It's a confusing, nonsensical, follow-the-science world, but it's the only world they know.
And honestly, I'm scared to death, not just for me, but for my family.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
It's story time with Grace Curley. Tell me the story about who really hired you.
The mail manager really hired me, but it wasn't a great interview. Like, she'll even tell you that. She asked me what I like to do for fun, and all I could think of was I like to go out to dinner with my friends and eat and get drinks. So I really just sounded like a loser who doesn't have... I think I also lied and said, I like to play tennis, just because I wanted to do something that sounded normal. Howie had no idea who I even was. I mean, I came in, was 10 minutes early for an interview, which everybody knows the story. I had red lipstick on, and I was 10 minutes early, and that was the high bar I had to meet, because then I got hired.
Catch all of Grace Curley's stories weekdays right before Howie from 12 to 3 on The Grace Curley Show. Online at gracecurleyshow.com. And follow Grace on Twitter at G_Curley.
She's the friend you never knew you needed.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Okay, make that best friend. It's Grace Curley.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Grace Curley Show. I'm talking to Toby Leary from Cape Gunworks, and we're so excited. We have a great Grace's Goodies today. All you have to do to get this is go to gracecurleyshow.com. That's gracecurleyshow.com, and click on Store. Now, here is the deal. While supplies last, you can purchase 1 full year of range use at Cape Gun Works. Now, it's valued at $500, but they're also going to waive the $175 initiation fee. So you're getting $675. That's the value of it for just $250. This is an incredible deal. Toby, can you tell people a little bit about what they'll get with this deal?
Yeah, absolutely. This is by far the most popular membership we ever offer, and I get people come in 365 days a year asking, when are you doing another cheap bastard deal? Well, here it is. So with the full membership, you never pay range fees, and you get 5% off anything you buy in the store, guns, ammo, range bags, optics, equipment, whatever. And you get 10% off any Cape Gunworks classes that we offer. So that's a huge benefit right there. Then you get a 30-day, 100% satisfaction guarantee of every firearm you purchase. You know, if you try it, you take it home and you go, it doesn't fit my hand. You used to take a pretty big hit on that. But as a member, you're going to get a full refund on that. You get a satisfaction guarantee for 30 days of any firearm you purchase from us. So you get access to our indoor archery range as well, and one of the most wonderfully designed full cotton T-shirts that say you're a proud member of Cape Gunworks. So that's what you get with membership, and we're open 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. on the range, and 11 to 5 on Sundays.
And Toby, we only have 20 of these available, so everyone should get to gracecurleyshow.com. These will go fast. And I wanted to let people know, this is a state-of-the-art gun range. It's absolutely beautiful. I've been there several times. If you've never been to Cape Gun Works, you might not know what to expect. It's so gorgeous. And there's the shop there. I like to always get a T-shirt when I'm there, because who can resist? But Toby, can I get one caller on before you have to go?
Absolutely, yeah.
Chet. Chet, you're next with Grace and Toby Leary from Cape Gunworks. Chet, what's your question really quick?
I bought a shotgun from a dealer, and they told me the background check only take about 10 minutes, and it's going on 9 days. Does that sound a little strange to you?
Not exactly. About 30% of the time we get a delay. So if you get a delay, it should only take 3 business days. So if you do it on a Tuesday, you got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so you'd be available to pick it up the following Monday. So hopefully that makes sense. If you haven't heard from them, I would give them a call and say, hey, it's been 9 days. Am I all clear to come pick up the weapon? And they should be able to tell you yes or no. We get calls all the time from people who are on delay to check the status. So it does happen about 30 or 40% of the time. So
let's try to fit in one more, Toby, because we got full lines here. Jim, you're next with Toby. What's your question?
Hi, Grace. Love the show. Toby, I am a prospective first-time firearm buyer and just sort of getting my feet wet in the topic. What do I need to, bring, and what can I expect for the, gun buying process as a first-timer?
Yeah. Yeah, great question, actually, because a lot of people need to know this. You get your license to carry, and then you have to bring the state-issued PIN number that they give you with the license. When you get the license, you want to make sure you bring that PIN number, because we have a lot of people who drive from Worcester or Springfield or come over from the islands and they forget that PIN number. And if it's outside of the typical business hours at the state, or they're really swamped, they can't call and retrieve that PIN.
Toby, thank you so much for calling in. We're running out of time. CapeGunworks.com. Go to GraceCurleyShow.com to get the deal quickly.
Hey, Howie, I see you got a haircut again.
Yes, I did, Grace. It looks good, doesn't it?
It definitely looks better than that haircut you got a few years ago before you met the president. Remember that bad buzz cut, Howie?
Geez, you love bringing that up, don't you?
Well, I just think that your bad haircut was a true testament to the wonderful work of Dr. Highness at DiStefano Hair Restoration. Because even though you looked crazy at the time, your hair grew back, and now you look as dapper as ever.
That's true. Dr. Highness did such a wonderful job on my hair. I love waking up every day not worrying about bald spots or a dreaded comb over. I now have a thick head of hair, and the best part of it is, it's my hair. Getting a DiStefano hair restoration was the best decision I ever made.
Well, besides hiring me, right, Howie?
Like I said, Grace, it was the best decision I ever made.
You heard him, guys. Go to hairman.com to get the hair you've always wanted. Get hair like Howie's. Go to DiStefano Hair Restoration. They have 5 locations in New England, and they are open for business. That's hairman.com.
He might not be flashy, but he's there when it counts. Here's 1 minute of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
For the first time in my memory, I agree with Nancy Pelosi. I am indeed the Grim Reaper when it comes to the socialist agenda that they've been ginning up over in the House.
You've watched the fight, you've watched the tactics, but here's what I want to tell you. In the very near future, Judge Kavanaugh will be on the United States Supreme Court.
Noted with great interest the Green New Deal, and we're going to be voting on that in the Senate. We'll give everybody an opportunity to go on record and see how they feel about the Green New Deal. Well, first on the impartiality issue, do you think Chuck Schumer is impartial? Do you think Elizabeth Warren is impartial?
No.
Bernie Sanders is impartial? So let's quit the charade. This is a political exercise. Nobody is supposed to be guilty until proven innocent in the United States of America. Look, we're at an impasse. We can't do anything until the Speaker sends the papers over, so everybody enjoy the holidays.
Here at the Howie Carr Radio Network, we're all about saving you money. We want you to cut out the middleman and buy direct from our great sponsors. And to help you save, I've put together a cheat sheet. For instance, if you go to EdenPure.com, you'll find the Thunderstorm Air Purifier, and you can save $10 using code Howie. You can also get Eden Pure's Gen 30 heater and save even more money with code Howie Deal. Do you have a dirty, dingy carpet that could use some freshening up? Head over to Genesis950.com, use code Howie, and get a gallon of their cleaner, free shipping, and other goodies with code Howie. Put a little pep in your step with Super Beats. Get more bang for your buck and do some good for your heart by going to superbeatsradio.com/Howie. While you're at it, give your ears a treat too and listen to your favorite music and podcasts with premium earbuds from Raycon. Get them at buyraycon.com/Howie. And finally, make cooking easier with HelloFresh. They'll send you easy to follow recipes and all the ingredients you need, but only if you visit HelloFresh.com/Howie. Cut out the middleman, save money, and take advantage of these deals now. Joe Biden accuses Trump of being a racist, but if you listen to Biden's comments, you would agree that he doth protest too much.
If you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
What do you the first mainstream African-American who is articulate and bright and clean?
And Madam President, we have predators on our streets.
That kid wearing a hoodie may very well be the next poet laureate and not a gangbanger.
They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
God love you, you've been here all day. My Lord, you may feel like you're being incarcerated.
We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro.
They're going to put you all back in chains. Unlike the African-American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
What deal can we have, Crazy Nancy?
The Constitution does not say that a person can shout wolf in a crowded theater.
But to be clear, you're not taking any arrows out of your quiver. You're not ruling anything out.
Good morning. Sunday morning. Chocolate, candy, chocolate, and then we have some other chocolate here. Consistently practice social distancing.
Why does AOC complain that you have not been grooming younger people for leadership?
I don't know. You'll have to ask her.
That was kind of sharp.
I'm not a big needle taker. I mean, I had a hard time getting my ears pierced. I'm not a big needle taker. I mean,
Mother Earth is angry. She's telling us.
What do you think is causing this erratic behavior?
I think that the president has always had erratic behavior. I have ice cream in my freezer. I guess that's better than having Lysol in somebody's lungs.
Civilization as we know it is at stake.
I don't drink, but I'm happy to have ice cream with anybody, anytime.
Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Grace Curley Show, and happy Friday. We just had Toby Leary on from Cape Gunworks and Hyannis, and we offered an incredible Grace's goodies, which is valued at over $675. It's an annual, I don't want to get this wrong, Jared, because it's an annual pass to Cape Gunworks, and it includes a ton of stuff. You can check it out on the website, but we're giving it to people at $250, which is more than half off. It's ridiculous how low that price is. They're going to go fast. We only have 20 available, and now we have less than 20. So gracecurleyshow.com, click on the store and check that out. And also, I just wanted to let people know, we'll have Toby on more often. I know a lot of you guys have firearms questions. We weren't able to get to you all, but he also has a show on WXTK 95.1 on Saturdays from 7 to 8 p.m. So if anyone wants to listen to that, he's great on radio. He really answers all your questions, and he's just so knowledgeable about it. Speaking of people who know a lot of info, we have John Hinderaker joining us now from Powerline Blog, one of my favorite people to talk to about all things politics. Thank you so much for joining us, John.
Hi, Grace, and congratulations on the new show.
Thank you so much. So the first thing I have to ask you, I read Powerline Blog every single day, and the reason I love it is because you have so many blogs that are smaller and they're like bite size. You can just consume them throughout the day, and you just kind of get your vibe on things without this long spiel about, the history of impeachment or anything. You just tell us what you think about it. And I cracked up when I read your first line. You said, "Not the most evil political act of my lifetime, but perhaps the dumbest." Give us your take on impeachment and why you think it's so dumb.
Well, the whole point of impeachment is to remove a federal office holder from office. And, the Democrats have been talking about impeaching Donald Trump since before he was inaugurated. Then they did impeach him a couple of years ago, and now they have impeached him again as he is just about to leave the White House. So what's the point? By the time the Senate can have a trial, and it's still kind of up in the air as to whether that's actually going to happen, or if so, when or how. But if it does happen, it'll happen after Trump has already left office. And it's just an unbelievable waste of time. And what it really exposes is the absence of any coherent, positive agenda from Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and the Democrats. If they had an agenda that's popular with voters and that's meaningful, that's what they would be talking about, not this endless Trump hatred that they've been driving for the last 4 years.
And it's amazing to me, John, because Biden obviously gave some sort of speech yesterday. I did not watch it. I'm not going to lie to you. But I went over it today a little bit here and there, and I was looking for some criticism of it or something about his plan. It's a $1.9 trillion plan. And the media was just all over it. They were fawning over Joe Biden, that this is the greatest plan that anyone's ever put together. He's a hero. He's a true leader. I mean, do you have any trust anymore in the mainstream media?
Well, I haven't had any trust for a long time, Grace. It's been quite a few years. The difference is that now nobody has any trust in the liberal media. I was kind of a pioneer. We at Powerline were kind of pioneers in undermining that faith in the liberal media. But that job is now complete. I mean, nobody listens to these people. And look, I mean, if you believed that the federal government can create wealth by legislation, and that it is possible for $2 trillion worth of wealth to actually be created and sent out to the American people, well, then it might make sense to say, oh, boy, this is a great idea. But I think most people understand that the federal government doesn't create wealth, that you can print money, but that doesn't enrich anybody. And I don't know if you're familiar with this idea of, modern monetary theory, which no economist, to my knowledge, actually supports, not even Paul Krugman. But now there are liberals going around saying, look, the government actually can just print money. It has no bad consequences. Just print it, run the presses, mail it out to people, and we're all going to be better off.
I think I read something on that theory the other day, and it said that people like AOC, they feel as though, you can just print money and keep printing it, and then when we need it, or when we need to tax people, we'll just tax the uber wealthy.
Yeah, they call that modern monetary theory, and it's completely stupid. But that's really the basis. When Joe Biden comes out with a plan like this, let's just mail checks out to people. That's really what they're talking about, and there's just no basis for it.
I'm talking to John Hinderaker from Powerline Blog. It's a great blog. If you're looking for more conservative opinions, that is the place to go. So I think my favorite story that you've written in a while is about this school or the school system in Minnesota and what's happening there. So yesterday I read a story, and it was about Cupertino, a town in Cupertino. There was an elementary school, and they were trying to have the kids rank themselves based off privilege and power, and the parents got wind of it, and they were not thrilled that their third graders were learning about, intersectionality in their math class. So you wrote a story, And it's not exactly the same, but there's elements of it that are similar. Tell us what's going on under Minnesota law and what they're trying to get rid of in the curriculum.
Yeah, so under Minnesota law, there are standards and benchmarks promulgated in a number of areas, one of which is social studies. And they're staggered so that each year one set of benchmarks and standards gets revised, and this year it's the social studies standards. And our left-wing governor and his Department of Education have appointed a committee to carry out this revision, and the first draft got released a couple of weeks ago, and it would not have gotten much public attention except for the fact that the organization I run, the Center of the American Experiment, policy organization in Minnesota, actually read what was in these standards, and it's unbelievable. I mean, so the things that have been dropped from the standards from what they were 10 years ago include World War I, World War II, the Holocaust, the Civil War, the American Revolution, communism, and any mention of such Americans as George Washington and Thomas Jefferson.
Okay, well, so my next question is, what's included?
Right, exactly. Any normal person would say, well, what the heck is in the standards? Answer, systemic racism in the U.S. rooted in our founding, how freedom and democracy have included or excluded certain groups throughout our history, developing a respectful awareness of the LGBTQ plus community, the Reconstruction period, specifically successful efforts to disenfranchise newly freed Black Americans, and connecting this history to persistent discrimination and inequity in the present, and an analysis of the ideology of manifest destiny and its relationship to whiteness, Christianity, and capitalism. The other thing is that there's an astonishing amount of space in these standards devoted to the history of Native Americans, which is an interesting subject, but Native Americans comprise between 1% and 2% of the population in Minnesota. There's just this kind of extraordinary preponderance of stuff about their history. So anyway, my organization went into action. We set up a website, raiseourstandardsmn.com. We promoted this on social media to let people know what was going on. In the space of a week, we got 5,000 Minnesotans to send letters or emails to this committee, respectfully pointing out what we see and they see, these thousands of Minnesotans, as the misguidedness of this first draft of a new set of standards. So on Monday of this week, the committee held a public meeting to talk about the feedback that it was open for public comment. So now they're going to talk about the public comments that they got. Well, more than 80% of the public comments that they got came from our website, raiseourstandardsmn.com. And so, the discussion, which I'm not sure they really thought anybody was going to listen in on, even though it was a public meeting done by Zoom, of course. They smeared our organization, and they referred to the letter that they got from more than 5,000 Minnesotans as white supremacists.
Oh, the old white supremacist card. Interesting.
You have to laugh. If you think that our children should learn about World War I, World War II, the Civil War, the Holocaust, the Revolutionary War, etc., and maybe learn who George Washington was, well, you are now a white supremacist. And so there was no discussion at all of how these comments might be taken into account as the committee goes to work on the second draft of the standards and guidelines. So we're going to stay on this, Grace. We're going to have a lot more people commenting next time around because there's going to be another time for public comments, and we'll have more time to really get them organized. But this kind of thing is happening all across America. Same thing here in the third grade. Teaching third graders about how as a white heterosexual man, you have so much more privilege than a black trans woman, although I'm not sure you can say that. That might be contradictory. I don't know. But, you're talking about the third grade. The first question any third grader would have is, what's a heterosexual?
Oh, my gosh. John, I was talking about this yesterday. I said, I used to have to sit at the kitchen table with my mom when I was in third grade. I wasn't the best student. And we would be going over the multiplication tables, and that was a hill we had to climb. My mom was pulling her hair out trying to teach me those. If I had come home and said to her, hey, Mom, I got to rank my power and privilege, she would have lost it.
I think sometimes we've all gone stark raving mad, Grace. I mean, I can't believe that anywhere close to a majority of Americans believe in this nonsense. It isn't possible. And so I think what has to be happening is that even though people who follow the news and, so forth are well aware of this whole movement, I think most people must not be. And I think that, people like you and I have just got to keep, driving public awareness of how completely insane the left is in their plans for education, as in so many other things.
And John, it seems to me, the more I keep hearing about these stories, and I did see the one yesterday out of California, it's this real push to make young kids feel as though they're either evil and they're racist or they're victims. And when really they should just be learning. They should just be learning fundamental things in elementary school. But there just seems to be this victimhood of, oh, you've been oppressed or you're the oppressor. And it's you, like you said, it's ramping up everywhere.
Well, it's all about indoctrination. And they actually want our kids to be ignorant. Ignorance makes them malleable. If they don't actually know anything about American history, what choice do they have but to believe the nonsense that the left foists on them? You can't really have it both ways. Educated people cannot easily be indoctrinated, right? So they actually want our children to be ignorant. And what they do in the schools reflects that.
Yeah, because if you knew your history, you might say, oh, communism doesn't really sound like a good idea. Or maybe we shouldn't be so politically correct and we shouldn't be canceling people. It hasn't worked out well in other societies when people are acting like that. But if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. John, thank you so much for being with us. I really appreciate it. It's Powerline Blog. I hope you'll join us again.
I sure will. Thanks, Grace. Bye-bye.
Thanks, John. Guys, everyone, that's John Hinderaker from Powerline Blog. It's really one of my favorites. Like I said, bite size. You can read all their stuff throughout the day. It doesn't take you very long. Great stuff. It will keep you informed. My friends at Eden Pure have done it again. Starting today, you can get the Thunderstorm air purifier at the lowest price offered to my listeners. With code word GRACE, the Thunderstorm is available for under $90 and shipping is free. This New Year sale is while supplies last. The Thunderstorm is a small device. I'm holding it in my hand right now. You can see how small it is. You just plug it into the wall. It's not one of these big behemoths where you have to, it takes up your whole floor space and it's really loud. This is quiet. There's no filters needed. You don't have to spend $600 on it. We love them here in the office. We move this one around all the time from the kitchen into here. And it's great. It doesn't take up any floor space. Like I said, it's very quiet. Take advantage of this 1 week only sale and experience for yourself what all the listeners, Howie, and advertisers are raving about. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word GRACE. That's EdenPure.com, code word GRACE. Shipping is free. Stop ordering stuff off Amazon. Go to EdenPure.com, order something, and get it delivered to you from someone besides Jeff Bezos. Guys, when we get back, we have more sound to play and a lot more to get to. In the 2 o'clock hour, we will be opening up the phone lines because I don't know if you guys know this, but the lottery, the Mega Millions, it's getting really high. And I want to know, if you win, what are you going to do with the money? But we're going to wait on that. We have more to get to before that. And this is the Grace Curley Show.
She's never held office, but she paid the whiskey priest's monthly rent once. She's Grace Curley.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey, everybody. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
There's a group of about 10 people outside of work that represent the entire universe of the community that I've spent time with and my wife has spent time with since March.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power. And the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
We spent time with about 10 people, period. We have a lot of friends we have not seen for months, and we don't know when we will see them. There are lots of people we haven't seen in, forever.
It's a confusing, nonsensical, follow-the-science world, but it's the only world they know.
Those are the rules in this game that we all need to play by.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
My wife and my circle of friends has gotten very small.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
It's story time with Grace Curley. Tell me the story about driving back from the Matthews Brothers remote.
I was driving the mailer manager's car, and then she was driving their other car. She had Howie in her car, and I was by myself. And it was really, really, really bad. Like, I'm talking the worst conditions I've ever had to drive on in my entire life. It was so scary. I was sweating. I don't think I got home till like 3 in the morning. I was like, I have to come in tomorrow and tell the mailer manager I can't do that again. And when I came in and, I kind of built up the courage to say it, and she looked at me and she said, "You can't do that again." I was sweating. My whole back was sweating. I'm never doing that again ever. So now if there's even like a little bit of snow coming, she'll say to me, "Do you want to stay at the hotel? Or do you want to, what should we do? How should we plan for this?"
Catch all of Grace Curley's stories weekdays right before Howie from 12 to 3 on The Grace Curley Show. And follow Grace on Twitter at @G_Curley.
This is The Grace Curley Show.
Welcome back, everyone. This is The Grace Curley Show. I hope everyone's having a good Friday. This show is moving right along. We've had some great guests. If you guys want to check out the podcast, it's gracecurleyshow.com. And you can also click on store and get our Grace's goodie, which is Cape Gunworks today. It's an annual pass. It usually goes for, I think, $650.
$675.
$675, and it's only $250. I don't think there's a lot left, but there's a few. So hop on that now, gracecurleyshow.com. While you're there, you can vote in our poll question. Today's poll question is brought to you by the Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier. I love it for my basement. To get the damp smell out of there, take advantage of their New Year sale. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word GRACE to save $10 and get free shipping. Jared, what is the poll question and what are the results thus far?
Well, Anderson Cooper mentioned John Sullivan during his show tonight.
So for those of you who do not know, John Sullivan is the left activist who was at the Capitol. He claimed that he was there to just document the riot, but now it's come out through his own video that he was actually instigating a lot of the behavior. And also, he said something to the cops at one point, like, "You have to stand down." I'm going to get that exact quote, but pretty much not exactly what the left was trying to make him out to be, which was, just this filmmaker or just this guy who was trying to get footage. So I'm going to say no, Jared. I do not think Anderson Cooper will mention John Sullivan.
98% of the audience say no, he will not.
I do want to play some of this sound, Jared. You can pick whatever one you think is best, but this is Anderson Cooper interviewing John Sullivan. Like I said, the left can't wait on anything. They can't say, wait, this guy, he's a left-wing activist, and he was there. He just happened to be there documenting the footage inside the Capitol while this was happening. There's none of that reason or rationale. They just have to go for it because it's so good, and it fits their narrative. And they run with it right away. So listen to Anderson Cooper talking to John Sullivan.
So just to be clear, was it a police officer who shot her?
I don't know if it was police or a private security guard. I couldn't see what they were wearing. I only can assume it would have been police based on everything that we've met up until that point.
So they were in an area that protesters were trying to get, or rioters were trying to get into? Is that what you're basing it on? I mean, was it an area that some of these riders were already inside of, or was it an area they were trying to get into that the shot came from?
So it was an area that was completely blocked off. They had chairs up against the doorway, like tables, so people couldn't get in. So no one has been in there.
Okay.
So some of the stuff that John Sullivan was saying, he said this to cops. He said, "You are putting yourself in harm's way. The people have spoken, and there are too many people. You got to stand down." He also said, "We got to get this bleep burned. It's our house, bleeps. We are getting this bleep," as he roamed the building. And then when he went on with Anderson Cooper, he was very neutral. He was telling people, "Listen, I was just there to film this, and I just happened to be there."
This is an apple.
This is a Trump supporter. This is what they want you to believe, that this kid who was in there wreaking havoc was MAGA. And he admitted that he was trying to blend in with the crowd. He said that was like part of getting the footage, was he had to blend in. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And of course, Anderson Cooper eats it right up because he's so much smarter than us. He's so much better than us. He doesn't go to the Olive Garden. And of course, he does all of his research and comes up with this kid to have on his show. It's absolutely absurd. Guys, when we get back, we have a lot more to get to. I'm going to open the phone lines now because I told you guys what our next segment is going to be. The Mega Millions, the Powerball. I don't know which. I have the article here and we'll get more into it. The $1 billion combined winnings and Mega Millions and the Powerball jackpot. That is a lot of money. And I guess people aren't buying, what are they called, tickets? I never buy them, can you tell? People aren't buying them right now, which surprised me because I thought right now during this coronavirus, people would be buying that a lot, dreaming, being hopeful about winning it. But I guess people haven't. But my question for you guys, 844-500-4242, if you won this jackpot, what are you spending your money on? Call in, guys. We're going to take your calls on the other side. This is the Grace Curley Show.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com. He's the gaffe that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts.
I get in trouble some of the things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me it starts here in my gut, it goes to my heart, and then I articulate it.
And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. $1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store and in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
He's the gaffe that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts.
I get in trouble with some of the things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me it starts here in my gut, goes to my heart, and then I articulate it.
And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. $1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store and in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
What does the mainstream media really think of you? Banjos, please.
Bigots and racists. Credulous, rude, tin-toothed, working class, angry, white.
Aging, angry white guys.
Angry white man.
Angry white old men.
These angry white men.
The angry white vote.
All these angry white people.
Too many of them want to see the people who are begging for change put down.
Racist. Racist, bigoted base.
It's white privilege, it's white nationalism, it's anger, it's rage, it's incel.
To tolerate a certain level of racism.
1 in 3 Americans are racists.
The credulous boomer rube demo. Y'all elitists are dumb.
You elitists with your geography and your maps and your spelling. Even though my
your math and your reading.
Yeah, you're reading.
They're too far gone.
Look at them. They're high-fiving each other, and they're going to go back, to the Olive Garden and to the Holiday Inn that they're staying at and the Garden Marriott, and they're going to have some drinks.
Here's 1 minute of CNN's Don Lemon.
What do you say to those Trump voters who prioritize the economy over the president's bigotry?
I have a big announcement, and it's somewhere on my body.
Because the biggest purveyor of fake news is the president in this country, because he does it a lot. I'm just going to speak from the heart here. What we have witnessed was a total eclipse of the fact.
If you thought I went hard in 2019, watch 2020, baby. There's more to come. I'm a soldier. I'm ready to fight.
Talking about the cost of this parade and where there would be tanks, right? And would there be nuclear weapons? Americans, are you mad as hell? I wouldn't normally address this. As a journalist, I don't really like being the story here. Kanye West, entitled to his own opinion, but is not very bright and not very, when it comes, I'm talking about this issue, not overall. So we have to stop demonizing people and realize the biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right to the right.
If you're thinking of replacing your carpets due to pet stains and odors, you must try Genesis 950. The reviews are amazing, as this is one product that actually works. With water, it breaks down the bonds of stains and odors so they are gone for good. Its antibacterial component moves pet odors from carpets and padding.
It can be used in a carpet cleaning machine, and it's green, so it's safe for your family and pets. Genesis 950 is made in America. If you are tired of pet cleaners that don't work, it's time to buy Genesis 950. 1 gallon of industrial strength Genesis 950 makes up to 7 gallons of cleaner. But Genesis 950 is not just for pet stains. It's great for bathrooms, kitchens, floors, upholstery, and grease stains. Consider Genesis 950 before purchasing new carpets. Genesis 950 has great customer service. Order 1 gallon direct at genesis950.com to receive a free spray bottle, free shipping, and a $10 coupon using code GRACE. That's genesis950.com. Coupon only available for 1 gallon purchase. Genesis 950. Much cheaper than replacing your carpets.
Watch out, Joe Biden. You might have to share some of the spotlight because your running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, is certainly grabbing some attention for her own gaffes.
She was part of our culture. Yes, we wear those notorious B.I.G. t-shirts with a lot of pride.
Best rapper alive, Tupac.
He's not alive. You say he lives on.
Not alive. I know. I keep doing that.
A Harris administration together with Joe Biden as the president of the United States. The Biden-Harris administration. We have got to, in America, reimagine how we are accomplishing public safety. And
better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Hey, it's not the Howie Carr Show. It's my show. And I brought my own music.
She's the Boston Herald's wittiest wordsmith, the last woman standing at the Whiskey Priest, the Archduchess of the AM airwaves. Once a very legitimate magazine that we definitely didn't make up named her the Michael Jordan of radio. Wait, don't you think we're laying it on a little thick here, Grace?
Just stick to the script.
Oh, okay. Get ready, Boston. Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio, it's the Grace Curley Show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Grace Curley Show, the last hour before the weekend commences. Just kidding. I'll be here for Howie Show, Grace's News, and Police Blotter Facts Friday, but we're getting closer, everybody. Before we get to our topic, which is the Powerball and Mega Millions, I have a few housekeeping notes I want to go over. First of all, if you would be so kind as to check out my first ever article in Spectator USA, I'd be honored. I'd really appreciate it. I wrote all about Charlie Baker and the vaccine rollout that is not going as smoothly as people thought it might. And also go to gracecurleyshow.com, click store to get our Grace's goodies with Cape Gunworks. There's a few more of those left. And lastly, I wanted to thank Aviva Trattoria for coming in and bringing a delicious Friday lunch for me and my VIPs, and also for bringing me this super cool t-shirt that I love, and it has Aviva on the sides of it. Make sure you check them out, and make sure you also go to gracecurleyshow.com and enter the email for the Aviva Trattoria lunch special. So I think I covered all of that. That was a few housekeeping notes, and now it is time to talk about what I've really been wondering. So this is how this came to be. I was on the phone with the mailroom manager yesterday, and we started talking about Powerball. She plays Powerball sometimes, Mega Millions. She always writes her name on the back of the ticket in case she wins, and Howie tries to take any sort of credit for it. So the combined Mega Millions and Powerball jackpots are over $1 billion. And I guess the reason it's so enormously high is because fewer people are buying lottery tickets right now, which is leaving more money to win. So I was on the phone last night with the mailroom manager, and she says to me, well, what would you do if you won? And 20 minutes later, the conversation's still going on. I look down at my car and I can see how long the conversation is. We've been on the phone for 20 minutes talking about a hypothetical Mega Millions win. And it just went on and on and on, and I couldn't stop talking about it. What would I do with all that money? And the real question that she had was, would you give 2 weeks notice? Would you give Howie 2 weeks notice before you hit the road? And my answer to my boss, the mailroom manager, was of course I would. What do you think? I would hop on a plane the next day, a private plane, and go to Bora Bora without giving you guys so much as the courtesy of 2 weeks notice? That's absurd. I would never think to do that. I also have a few houses I'm planning on buying. I would really invest in property. I would buy a house down the Cape. I would buy a house in Palm Beach. I would buy another house where I am right now in Massachusetts, and maybe like a fancy house in Wyoming, like Kanye or something like that. And I would probably buy a private plane. And then, I mean, it's like $1 billion. It's a lot of money. I would give a lot of money away. I would give a lot of money to my parents. I would not tell anyone that I won this money because that's when all the crazies come out. And I would just never work again. It's kind of simple. Oh, and lastly, before I turn it over to Jared, he's going to tell us what he would buy. I would pamper myself on a daily basis. I'm talking like I would get facials every day, get my hair done every day, skincare products, makeup. I would just, anytime, you know those times in your life where you go, I don't need that. I would buy it. Boom. Purchased. I would just be swiping that credit card. All right, Jared, I can tell you're ready to go here. What in your hypothetical world, what do you get?
Well, I'm tempted to say I'd buy a nice diamond for Hunter Biden so I could be made Secretary of State.
It's got to be at least 2.8 carats or else he will not accept it.
That of course. 2.8 carats, that's a chip. That's not a diamond, Grace.
Jared's already getting the ego of someone who won.
Exactly. No, I actually would go after the holy grail of comic books, Action Comics #1 from 1938, the first appearance of Superman. You can't even really find a copy anymore. It's so old and there's so few of them. I know Nicolas Cage has one. I might try to bribe him out of it. But that is what I would go for.
Did he steal his? The Declaration of Independence?
Yes. There's actually a second. No, he that was one of his big ticket items when he's like, if I ever get famous, I was going to do that. And he did that.
Wow.
I would definitely do that. Yep.
Anything else? It's got.
Rhode Island.
Jared,
I'd probably buy Rhode Island.
I'm not going to comic book shame you because I know it's one of your passions, and I respect that. There's got to be another thing. You win. You win.
No,
$1 billion.
Yes, I would buy a house in nice part of California, which I know those are shrinking, but I'd buy a nice beach house in California and just kind of sort of do nothing.
Okay, I like that. Would you give 2 weeks notice to Howie and Kathy?
I would absolutely give 2 weeks notice.
See, that's the great thing about being on the radio is that we're all lying.
Can't forget the little people when, you become big time.
We're all lying right now. No, I'm kidding. I would finish off. I would do 2 weeks. I mean, that way everyone could be, oh, Grace is leaving. Oh, so sad. And, boost my ego even more. Guys, 844-500-4242. We are asking you on this beautiful Friday afternoon if you won $1 billion. I feel like Dr. Evil. What are you spending your money on? And I want to add this in, okay? If what you're spending your money on is paying your bills and paying off your mortgage, that's totally fine. But one thing I do want to say to the callers is that I would like one fun thing. I want something that you've been eyeing or that you've always thought about. And one of my VIPs said that she would get a pool. That's something a little bit on the fun side that I would appreciate you throwing in. I know you guys are all charitable. I know you're going to take care of your families. But if you could make it a little bit exciting for us, that would be nice. I remember I used to work at this place when I was in college, and we would always all go in for the Powerball. And it was all older people. And I'd be like, what are you guys going to get? And all the ladies would say to me, I'm paying off my electricity bill. I'm like, yeah, no, I know, but it's $1 billion. What are you going to do after that? Is anyone getting Beyonce tickets? Like, come on. When I was talking to the mailer manager, I asked her, and she said she would definitely get a private plane. She would never fly commercial again, which is great for Howie.
I'm on board with that.
Because he's on the plane too then. Yeah, no, I am too. I would definitely do some sort of, I mean, I'm not going to be herded like a sheep anymore into those planes. No way. Kenny, you're next with Grace on the Grace Curley Show. Kenny, you win the Mega Millions or the Powerball. What do you buy?
Well, I would love to buy the old Ritz-Carlton back where I used to work for 15 years.
Oh, my God, beautiful.
And just make it a great local hotel again. Bring back the cafe, the dining room, bring it back to its original state as it was back in the 30s. At the rooftop, when they used to have dinner, dancing, the big bands. Make it a great local hotel where it brings the whole community, the whole city together where it used to be. So that's a very special place. That's number one. Number two, I would buy probably an island, if all possible, up in Maine. A small island, didn't matter. So that would be number two. And number three, I would hire somebody, since I drive all the time, to drive me Saturday so I could be down in Florida to go to Howie Carr's birthday party at Mar-a-Lago.
Very good, Kenny. Wow, that was an excellent start to this. Those were 3 things I loved. I love the idea of getting a driver, which also made me think of I would also get someone to always do my laundry because that's my least favorite chore and I would never want to do laundry again. Or I would just send out my clothes and get them folded into those really tight stacks.
Buy new clothes every day.
I know, never do laundry again. The Ritz-Carlton one, love that. So creative. And the island one, I like when people start talking about winning $1 billion because they say, it can be a small island. That's okay. Like, oh, we're all still so humble.
I'm not gonna go crazy.
Yeah, no.
774. I'd get 2 full suits of armor. One would be a medieval knight, and the other a samurai.
Wow. See, everybody's got their stuff. I'm not here to make fun of anyone's passions. Like Jared wants to buy a comic book. I'm getting a private jet. He's gonna have a comic book. Is one of those cooler or better than the other? Who's to say? But we're not here to make fun. Guys, when we get back, we're going to take all your calls, 844-500-4242. What would you do if you won $1 billion? Do not hold back. Let us know. I have to let you guys know something else. You don't have to have $1 billion to do this. This is a change you can make today. It's true what they say at Perfect Smiles. Change your smile, change your life. I saw the change with Howie Carr. So I think Howie had already had his perfect smile when I met him, but he does have, you don't have to know him before to know the after. I mean, his smile is awesome and he's always laughing. So you see it all the time. The mailroom manager has a gorgeous smile. Whenever I'm with her, someone stops her and says, oh my God, you have such beautiful teeth. So they both went to Dr. Houghton. You should definitely check him out. He's the best dentist ever. Many people walk around. This makes me so sad. Many people walk around not smiling because they aren't happy with their teeth. And something I learned the other day that Dr. Houghton has been seeing is that people are stressed out right now with COVID and the election and all this stuff, and they're grinding their teeth. So it's very important to take care of your teeth. Dental health is so important. It's really amazing to watch their testimonial videos at perfectsmiles.com. So you don't have to take my word for it. You can see people who have gone there and how it's changed their lives. Talk about incredible transformations. Dr. Houghton really is an artist. Perfect Smiles is conveniently located in Nashua, New Hampshire. Parking is free, which is huge, and the staff is warm and welcoming. Have you been wanting to upgrade your look for years? Contact them today and look at their video testimonials. Go to perfectsmiles.com. That's perfectsmiles.com. Change your smile, change your life. 844-500-4242. Guys, we'll be taking your calls about what you would do if you won the Powerball. Don't go anywhere. This is The Grace Curley Show.
You're listening to The Grace Curley Show. Here at the Howie Carr Radio Network, we're all about saving you money. We want you to cut out the middleman and buy direct from our great sponsors. And to help you save, I've put together a cheat sheet. For instance, if you go to EdenPure.com, you'll find the Thunderstorm Air Purifier, and you can save $10 using code Howie. You can also get Eden Pure's Gen 30 heater and save even more money with code Howie Deal. Do you have a dirty, dingy carpet that could use some freshening up? Head over to Genesis950.com, use code Howie, and get a gallon of their cleaner, free shipping, and other goodies with code Howie. Put a little pep in your step with Super Beats. Get more bang for your buck and do some good for your heart by going to superbeatsradio.com/Howie. While you're at it, give your ears a treat too and listen to your favorite music and podcasts with premium earbuds from Raycon. Get them at buyraycon.com/Howie. And finally, make cooking easier with HelloFresh. They'll send you easy to follow recipes and all the ingredients you need, but only if you visit HelloFresh.com/Howie. Cut out the middleman, save money, and take advantage of these deals now.
What impact do you think Russian interference had in the election?
I think it was one of the major contributors to the outcome.
Years from the 2016 election, and Hillary Clinton still can't accept the results. Take a listen.
You know, you can run the best campaign. You can be the person who gets the nomination. You could lose. I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows.
The one thing that Trump is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually was.
This wasn't on the level. Flashing videos that appear and then disappear, and they're on the dark web and nobody can find them. It's like applying for a job and getting 66 million letters of recommendation and losing to a corrupt human tornado. So maybe there does need to be a rematch. I mean, obviously, I can beat him again. So, of course, he's obsessed with me.
What impact do you think Russian interference had in the election?
I think it was one of the major contributors to the outcome.
Years from the 2016 election, and Hillary Clinton still can't accept the results. Take a listen.
You know, you can run the best campaign. You can be the person who gets the nomination. You could lose. I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows.
The one thing that Trump is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually was.
This wasn't on the level. Flashing videos that appear and then disappear, and they're on the dark web and nobody can find them. It's like applying for a job and getting 66 million letters of recommendation and losing to a corrupt human tornado. So maybe there does need to be a rematch. I mean, obviously, I can beat him again. So, of course, he's obsessed with me.
Grace Curley. She's the cool kid at the lunch table.
I want a hamburger, no cheeseburger. I want a hot dog. I want a milkshake. I want potato chips. You'll get nothing like it.
This is the Grace Curley Show.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Grace Curley Show. We are throwing out the question to the callers. What would you buy if you won the Powerball? It's a huge Powerball right now. It's $1 billion total combined with the Mega Millions. And so hypothetically, if you won $1 billion, what do you do with that? I'm getting some really good texts, people saying they'd help out their family. You know, they'd buy a house in free America in Florida. I would definitely get a house in Palm Beach. I said that. Maybe an apartment. You know, like I said, I'm still humble. You know, I can still make it small. I don't have to go over the top just because I have $1 billion. Today's poll question is brought to you by the Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier. I love it for my basement to get out the damn smell, and I'm holding it in my hand right now for the camera. Take advantage of their sale. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word GRACE to save $10 and get free shipping. Jared, what is the poll question and what are the results thus far?
Will Anderson Cooper mention John Sullivan during his show tonight?
John Sullivan is the left-wing activist who was at the Capitol riots, said he was there to document it, and gave the footage to the FBI, and they could overhear him encouraging people to burn stuff and to riot. He was inciting violence. I'm going to say no, Anderson Cooper will not mention John Sullivan ever again.
Only 2% of the audience say yes, he will.
Okay, so we're going to get to your calls. That's 844-500-4242. Trish, you're next with Grace on the Grace Curley Show. Trish, you win $1 billion. What do you spend your money on? Trish? All right, we lost Trish. That's okay. Another thing I wanted to say, though, about this, the John Sullivan video, is that we have audio of it. Does it sound good, Jerry? Can you hear what he's saying? And is it all bleeped out? All right, we will get back to the calls in 1 second, but let's play this video quick.
I'll give you your hug now. We did it. You were right. We did it.
Dude, I was trying to tell you. I couldn't say much.
You were right.
You just have to watch my chat. Is this not going to be the best film you've ever made in your life?
That's it.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Hell yeah.
Wait, you weren't recording, were you?
I'll delete that. But I didn't record you or me. It's just voices.
So, first of all, they're elated. You can just hear how excited they are. And second of all, he says he'll delete it.
About that.
That's the thing about those kind of videos. You always forget to delete them. Nothing's deleted nowadays. Even if it is, it's still there. But thank God that this video came out, because I have a feeling it's not going to be the first video like this that we see. Bill, you're next with Grace on the Grace Curley Show. You win $1 billion, Bill. What do you buy?
Grace, great show. Congratulations, and thanks for taking my call. I would, first of all, buy my way out of Massachusetts.
Nice.
And second of all, I would give half of it to Donald J. Trump for everything that he's done for us.
Wow, that's a great one, Bill. I don't blame you. I mean, the guy has not taken a paycheck since he's been in office, and he really is going above and beyond. And he's been he's been ruined every step of the way from these people who hate him so much. So I think that's a good one, Bill. Anything for yourself? You buy anything for yourself?
He's done so much, and people say, well, what has he done? And I've got an email that has 150 line items, and people don't believe any of it. It's like, are you kidding me? Read this. What do you mean, what has he done?
It's absolutely crazy. Thank you, Bill. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Dave, you're next with Grace on the Grace Curley Show. Dave, you win the Mega Millions. What do you buy?
I buy a personal driver. I'll never have to drive anywhere again and deal with traffic.
People are loving the personal driver. I think that's a good one. Plus, if you go out and have a drink or two, you're never going to get in trouble.
I have another side note. Have you seen the Michael Noy interview?
No.
Canadian Epoch News. It's hard to find, but check it out. It's a really good interview with him.
Okay,
He explains everything that happened at the Capitol.
Okay, thank you, Dave. I'll check that out. Pamela, you're next on the on the Grace Curley Show. That was the first time I did it, Jared. He just looked at me so disappointed. That was the first time I've said this is the Howie Carr Show on the Grace Curley Show. It's an easy mistake to make, guys. Pamela, you're next on the Grace Curley Show. You win $1 billion.
Blessings with your new show. I would start a nursing home, and in that nursing home, I would have a art and craft room. I would have a kitchen. I would have carpentry shop, maybe a metal working shop, just everything that people had been engaged in, a computer room, and have supervision in those rooms, and have the elderly who can work at those functions, even people with Alzheimer's, music rooms, teachers, just all functioning, and have the products sold there at the premises, have beautiful gardens, maybe a daycare center, so that what is left of us could function beautifully and perfectly and not be put away into oblivion and, have some autonomy. I would just enjoy that so much. Oh, it would bless my heart. I would love
Pamela,
to see
that's a
that
great
change.
one.
I'd like to see it. Yeah, I think it's time for that. Because we are the elders of the tribe, and we are the few people who know you don't have to buy water. So, these things are important, and there's so much of us that's functional, and the joy is there. Once we get joy going again, and we get unity going again, and we understand, I would revamp the school system as best I could back to a truth and the fact that American is what counts. American is what counts. Not
Pamela,
color,
you're making You're making Jared's comic book and my private jet look really lame right now. Those are all great things, changing the world. I kind of hope Pamela wins it more than I do.
I might throw some laptops to the local school or something. I don't know.
Will you, Michael Scott Stotts? I might buy them some battery laptops.
I'll send a kid to college, whatever.
Guys, 844-500-4242. I see you guys lining up. We will get to all these calls. We're asking people what you would do if you won $1 billion. It's a hypothetical. It's fun. And it gives people something to dream about. Kara, you're next with Grace on the Grace Curley Show. What do you buy, Kara?
Hi, Grace. Loving the show. First thing, I would be a responsible young adult and pay off my student loans. But for more fun, I would love to buy an NFL team so I can watch a football game without any social justice messages on the field and just enjoy the game.
Wow, that's a good one. And you could be at the box like Bob Kraft and Bon Jovi, and you could have your own little snack bar up there. And I just always, Kara, I agree with this one because I've always wanted to sit in a box at the NFL when they show you on the commercials and you're just sitting there so effortlessly casual and beautiful, and they just film you and they go, oh, that's Grace Curley. She's, the owner of the team. She's eating nachos with Bon Jovi. I love that stuff. So I agree. I would definitely buy a team. I don't know if it would be NFL. It probably would be, actually. That's probably the most fun to own. Kara, thank you for the call. The phone lines are lining up, 844-500-4242. We will get to more of these on the other side. Guys, you win $1 billion. What are you doing with that cash? Let me know. Don't go anywhere. This is The Grace Curley Show.
You may have heard that many of the RV and camping shows have been canceled, but don't worry. Cold Springs RV is happy to announce the New England RV Show. This is Howie Carr, and if you're a camper, I've got 2 words of advice for you. Buy early. With the popularity of camping growing and manufacturers' constraints, the earlier you shop, the better. Visit Cold Springs RV in Ware, New Hampshire to make sure you get spring delivery. Go to newenglandrvshow.com to learn about this safe show.
Alexander Hamilton said, "Those who stand for nothing will fall for anything." This is Toby from Cape Gunworks. When our founding fathers drafted the Second Amendment, there was no question of its meaning. Today, if you have questions, come to Cape Gunworks for some advice, training, or to send a few rounds downrange. We have a fully stocked pro shop with a huge selection of guns, crossbows, archery, classes, rentals, a 15-lane range, and a friendly staff. Come on down to Cape Gunworks, Airport Road, Hyannis, or capegunworks.com.
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
You've been hearing me talk about super beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why super beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of super beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind super beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just 1 scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
You guys have heard me talk about super beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why super beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of super beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a super beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind super beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
And now, another minute of Madam Speaker, Nancy Pelosi.
But again, don't.
You have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
That's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame. Except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, because we are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116. 15 are Republican, 91 are Democrats. I happen to be a manifestation of the women power that is coming forth now, but only one manifestation. It was like getting kicked in the back by a mule constantly. It was physical. It was so unbelievable. The Times found Lincoln not to be.
live from the Aviva Trattoria studio.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Grace Curley Show, and happy Friday. Make sure you go to gracecurleyshow.com and check out the store. We have a great Cape Gunworks Grace's goodies up there right now. It's valued at $675 for the pass, and you get it for $250, which is an incredible deal. All right, guys, we are taking all of your calls right now on what you would do if you won $1 billion. I see the phone lines are all lit up. We will get to you. Let's start with Peggy. Peggy, you win $1 billion. What do you do?
Hi, Grace. I love your show. It's so fun to do this on a Friday afternoon. It makes it a little bit more light and less worrisome with all the politics. This is a great idea. If I won $1 billion, I would, first of all, I would buy a small boat, not a big boat, but a small boat. I would pay off my mortgage. I would donate to my church because I love my church. I would make a donation to all my favorite charities, a substantial one. I have like 5 or 6 ones that are really special to me, schools, etc. I'd buy a new house. I'd buy a house for all my kids and my grandchildren, and then I would just live life and be generous and be happy.
Now, Peggy, here's a real question. Would you go in person to claim your prize, or would you send a lawyer? Would you keep this discreet, or would you let people know?
I would definitely send a lawyer. Definitely.
You don't want the whole town to know that Peggy's got loads of cash? You got it. Yeah, I agree with you there, Peggy. I don't think it's a smart move to go yourself. And plus, there's a lot of stories. And like Peggy said, this is a fun segment. It's supposed to inspire some hope and some dreaming. But you know me, I do got to tell you guys the truth. There's a lot of stories out there about people who win the lottery and they're cursed and their lives start spiraling. You saw it on Roseanne. It was a weird season finale. I'm not saying it was good, but it was weird. So you got to be careful. You got to keep living your life to a degree the way you lived it before. You don't want to be one of those people who, wins the lottery and then ends up broke at the end of it. Richard, you're next with Grace on the Grace Curley Show. Richard, you win the lottery. What do you buy?
I would rent the castle at Disneyland for your wedding.
You would rent the castle at Disneyland?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice, Richard. For me?
Yeah.
What would you do for yourself?
Probably buy a new car and a new house.
Yeah, a new car is nice. I mean, you can't beat that new car smell. I don't need one. I got my Toyota, but I'm just saying that that's a good move. And I also think buying real estate is the way to go. I would just buy a ton of property. I buy property all over the place. I haven't picked a place that wouldn't be in the United States yet, but I got that on the brain. I'm thinking about it. I just don't know where yet. Jared, what? You look at your...
No, I was just...
You look like you're skeptical about something.
No, not at all. It's a beautiful scenario.
What, me getting married at the castle at Disneyland?
Yeah.
You're damn right it is.
Absolutely.
I don't like the sarcasm in your voice.
There's no sarcasm implied.
I'm going to be like Cinderella. Guys, 844-500-4242. Thank you, Richard. That was a very nice call. If you guys want to tell us what you plan on doing with your $1 billion, please call in. I see you guys. I'm going to get to you. But first, I wanted to read this quick story. Penn State professor slams student conservative youth group as responsible for Capitol riot. A political science professor at Penn State University rejected students' request to serve as advisor for the school's Young Americans for Freedom chapter Tuesday. This is what he said. On principle, I do not take part in any on-campus political movements because he claims to be an unbiased instructor. Then he says,
clearly.
Then he says this to the kids. In your case, this is the unbiased instructor. In your case, under no condition would I support any group that has an implied or explicit support for Trump, racism, sexism, or indifference to democratic values, including peace, liberty, freedom, and justice for all peoples. I question if your national organization has some responsibility for recent actions or of recent actions. So, seems like a really nice, unbiased teacher.
So, he's questioning if they have any without any evidence of responsibility. He's just assuming that because they're Republicans, they will do that.
Yeah, no, exactly. I agree. And you can hear the bias in the way he says that to the kids, that they might be responsible because they're the Young Americans for Freedom. It's ridiculous. Dave, you're next with Grace on the Grace Curley Show. Dave, you win the lottery. What do you buy?
I'm buying 2 islands in the Caribbean.
Okay.
In separate parts of the Caribbean. A helicopter with a pilot. So when a hurricane's coming into this one, I can go over to the other one.
And that's a good idea, Dave. I don't mind.
Always have a backup island.
See, a lot of people are saying the islands. To me, it's a little bit too much responsibility. Like, I really love apartment living because I feel like there's a doorman and there's people that, can take care of you. An island, it's a lot on you, Dave.
Yeah, but I can pay for them to take care of it. I pay a house for the caretaker, a house for the pilot on each.
Yeah,
the pilot will have 2 houses because he can go, because I want him to be with me. So when I got to go to the island or I got to go to the mainland, we're ready to go.
I'm just saying, I think the real problem here with me is that even when I'm a billionaire, I feel like I'm still going to be kind of cheap. So to me, this just sounds really expensive. But I know you're a billionaire, so it doesn't matter. But in my head, I'm like, yeah, we're getting kind of pricey. The upkeep of this lifestyle is going to cost you a lot. But I just have to keep reminding myself, no, Grace, you have billions of dollars now. You don't have to worry about that stuff. Your life is different now. Chuck, you're next with Grace on the Grace Curley Show. Chuck, what do you buy if you win $1 billion?
$1 billion, I would obviously pay off all my bills, maybe buy a new truck, a new toy. Then I would run for president and have Donald as my vice president.
Ooh, very good. I like that. Not bad at all. I think that a lot of people that are calling up, we had some guy, he dropped off, but he was saying the same thing, that he would donate a lot of his money to the RNC. A lot of people have politics on the brain, even when they're talking about, something that's not political. Speaking of having politics on the brain, Rose McGowan, you guys remember her from the Me Too movement. She has called Trump's second impeachment a cult propaganda and a theater of mass destruction. Rose McGowan has been portrayed by the media as kind of a crazy person. I actually think that a lot of times she's right on. She has called out a lot of people for being hypocrites, including Alyssa Milano. And she was, I think, the original person to start the Me Too.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, it was because of, I don't know if it was because of, but it was related to the Harvey Weinstein.
Okay, so this is what she said. She said, this impeachment is cult propaganda, a theater of mass distraction. U.S. cult members on the left will cheer. Those on the right will be in a fury. And the country's starving, sick, and poor will sink farther and farther. Good thing the elites are leading us. I don't disagree. I mean, there's people out there who have had their businesses destroyed. There's people who have real issues. And when they look to Washington, D.C., they're seeing this show and this thing where it's all about Nancy Pelosi is wearing the same dress she wore for Trump's first impeachment. Like, it's something we should all be like, oh, so celebrating. It's a waste of our taxpayer dollars and it's a waste of time. And it's from people who have claimed for the last 4 years that they have really good ideas. So here's your chance, guys. You have such good ideas. Let's put them to work. But instead, their number one priority, as always, is Orange Man. And let's focus on Orange Man. Let's keep the press off of Joe Biden. And I have to say, I don't think Rose McGowan is on the wrong path here. It does seem like it's all a mass distraction. They just, but the thing is, you can't distract people right now from their lives. And people's lives right now are, the first impeachment, things were different. The world was very different during the first run of it. And people did have an appetite for it, I think. Right now, people don't. People really want to see some stuff change, and they want their stimulus checks and they want their businesses open, probably even more than they want their checks. And I don't think people have the appetite for it. I think people are sick of this. They see it for exactly what it is, which is very political. My friends at Eden Pure have done it again, guys. Starting today, you can get the Thunderstorm air purifier at the lowest price offered to my listeners. With code word GRACE, the Thunderstorm is available for under $90 and shipping is free. This New Year sale is for 1 week only and while supplies last. The Thunderstorm is a small device. You can hold it in your hand like I'm doing right now. You can plug it into the wall to purify the air from any odor. This could be pet odor, kitchen smells, tobacco, or that damp smell you may have in your basement. One of the best parts about this is it's so quiet. There's no filters needed. We love them here in the office because you can bring it into the kitchen when Howie microwaves fish. Right. You can bring it in any room that you think is starting to smell kind of damp or funky, and it makes it smell so fresh, like it just rained.
Well, that's like yesterday. You remember when I microwaved the asparagus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I didn't have to get mad because we had the
Exactly.
Eden Pure air purifier.
That gave me the confidence to bring asparagus into the workplace.
Yeah, it gave you a lot of confidence because you literally yelled it out loud. You're like, I'm microwaving asparagus. Sorry, get the Eden Pure. He's very lucky we have this machine here. We love them here in the office, and the Thunderstorm doesn't take up any floor space, which is great. It's not clunky. People don't even notice it when it's in the wall. Take advantage of this 1 week only sale and experience for yourself what all the listeners, Howie, Jared's asparagus, and the advertisers are all raving about. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word GRACE. That's EdenPure.com, code word GRACE. Shipping is free. By the way, guys, go to GraceCurleyShow.com to get the Grace's goodie, which is Cape Gunworks. It's not going to be around for a long time, so make sure you jump on that now. When we get back, we are going to ask the same question, the $1 billion question, to Howard Lawrence Carr. And I have a feeling Howie has a lot of stuff that he'd want to do if he had $1 billion. I know he would retire because he's told me that before, but we're going to get into the specifics. We will be right back, guys. This is Grace Curley, and this is The Grace Curley Show.
Follow Grace on Twitter at @G_Curley.
This hour of The Grace Curley Show is brought to you in part by the Follensby Inn in North Sutton, New Hampshire. Do what I did and enjoy this beautiful inn. To reserve your room, go to follensbyinn.com.
This is going to sound immodest, but I'm obviously a top-tier candidate. I've had a lot of titles over my career, and certainly vice president will be great, but Mamala will always be the one that means the most. They said, well, do you think Trump is responsible for what happened? And I said, well, look, I mean, obviously he didn't pull the trigger, but he's certainly been tweeting out the ammunition. And that's why do gotta go. What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid. That is why we put them in dormitories. You know what, I'm just gonna engage in real talk. I don't wanna waste your time with anything else.
What is your favorite musical genre?
Oh, I mean, I'm hip hop and reggae and jazz. Those are some of my favorites.
Okay.
Have you ever smoked?
I have.
Okay.
And I inhaled. I did inhale.
If you're thinking of replacing your carpets due to pet stains and odors, you must try Genesis 950. The reviews are amazing, as this is one product that actually works. With water, it breaks down the bonds of stains and odors so they are gone for good. Its antibacterial component moves pet odors from carpets and padding. It can be used in a carpet cleaning machine, and it's green, so it's safe for your family and pets. Genesis 950 is made in America. If you are tired of pet cleaners that don't work, it's time to buy Genesis 950. 1 gallon of industrial strength Genesis 950 makes up to 7 gallons of cleaner. But Genesis 950 is not just for pet stains. It's great for bathrooms, kitchens, floors, upholstery, and grease stains. Consider Genesis 950 before purchasing new carpets. Genesis 950 has great customer service. Order 1 gallon direct at genesis950.com to receive a free spray bottle, free shipping, and a $10 coupon using code GRACE. That's genesis950.com. Coupon only available for 1 gallon purchase. Genesis 950. Much cheaper than replacing your carpets.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie.
Start the afternoon off right.
Now what? Now comes a girl. Here she is. This is just the best part of my day.
It's Grace Curley.
everyone. Welcome back to the Grace Curley Show. We've been having so much fun in this last hour talking about what we would do if we won $1 billion. And Jared and I both have said that we would definitely give Howie our 2 weeks notice because we're really good employees, and we definitely would not take off the next day for some private island and never come back. But before we get to what Howie would do with the money, I wanted to go over one more time a few things. GraceCurleyShow.com to get your Cape Gunworks Grace's goodies. Also, thank you to Aviva Trattoria for coming in, and thank you to my VIPs for being here today. We've had such a fun Friday, delicious food, and great conversation. Do I have Howie Carr on the line?
Yes, you do.
All right, Howie, let us know. You win $1 billion. What do you do?
I think probably I wrap it up. It would not immediately, but I don't think I'll be around a year from now. Probably not a month from now.
So I said that to the VIP during the break, and I told her, I said, Howie says that if he won $1 billion, he would retire, and she's challenging that. She said no, he wouldn't. She said he would. He would try it for a while.
I used to think I wouldn't retire, Grace, but now I think I would.
Would you buy anything fancy, like a fancy jacket from one of those shops in Palm Beach?
No, you have to wear a mask to go into that shop, so I don't even go into that shop anymore, just even to window shop, you know.
All right.
Besides, where can you wear a fancy coat like that anymore? Anywhere.
That's
you can't.
So true. That's so true. That's a very good point. So, Howie, what can people expect to hear on the show today? Do you have any guests lined up, and what are the topics you're going to be talking about?
You'll be back for Police Blotter Facts Friday and for Grace's News, and I think we'll be talking about the situation with John Sullivan, that the agent provocateur. I find it rather ironic that AOC wants to crack down on fake news, and the same day she wants to crack down on fake news, or almost simultaneously, CNN is running this fake interview with this guy who's basically a low-grade, Antifa type, semi-terrorist, an agent provocateur, and calling him a journalist. I mean, is that the kind of disinformation she wants to crack down on? The Russian collusion hoax, the Dan Rather make-up story about President Bush. Is that the kind of stuff she's looking for, or does she just want to crack down on true stories?
Well, Howie, you have to keep in mind this is CNN, and they were so happy. I was talking earlier about this. If you heard this story and you had any shred of, journalistic curiosity, you might say to yourself, wait, this guy who's not a Trump supporter came all the way to D.C. to film a riot that supposedly happened pretty spontaneously, but he happened to be there with his film crew. But just like with Jussie Smollett and all of those kind of, fake stories, they don't look into it. They don't think to themselves, oh, this is too good to be true for us. They just say, oh, let's get him on tonight's show.
I've told you, Grace, we used to have a saying in the old Hearst newsroom of the Boston Herald American, but it was a joke. There are some stories that are just too good to check out.
Yeah. That's all stories at CNN.
But it's a joke. But that was a joke. We were kidding. Because we would have gotten into trouble if we'd been printing crap like Anderson Cooper was doing.
You think your old bosses would have cared if you said someone had a crowbar and it ended up being a pro-bar?
I think I would have. I think I would have been back on the obit desk, writing the obits.
Well, how
not the serious obits, just not the serious, but the former congressman obits. I'd be writing the so and so used to have a job in a stable and he died. That's what I'd be writing for obits. And I also, Grace, one of my favorite journalistic words that's been missing for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Unexpectedly.
Unexpectedly.
It's come back. I saw my first unexpectedly today.
Well, that's back in fashion, like Abraham Lincoln and
December.
All that stuff.
December retail sales crashed unexpectedly after the election of Joe Biden. They're puzzled that people would stop buying. They're probably, are they also puzzled if a hurricane is barreling towards the coast that people put up storm shutters and evacuate, or if there's a blizzard coming they buy a shovel and some salt? It's unexpected. There's an economic and maybe even a social hurricane coming, and people are hunkering down, and that's why the sales unexpectedly crashed in December.
Howie, you know what's going to be really unexpected?
What's that?
When the ratings unexpectedly drop after Donald Trump leaves office and all they're reporting is how great Joe Biden is. I don't think there's a real appetite for that anymore. Just listening to Jim Acosta talk about how Joe Biden's having the best week ever. And I loved how today on Twitter, somebody put up a side-by-side, and one tweet was NPR, and that original tweet where they said, this is why we're not talking about Hunter Biden. It's not a real news story. And then the other, we save our print for real news stories that matter. And then the other tweet, it said something like, Joe Biden's dog, the first dog to ever be at the White House, was adopted from a shelter. Like, these are the stories they think they can get away with now.
Right.
And they can't.
And how dare you not call Jill Biden with her education, master's or PhD in education, a doctor.
That's Surgeon General Jill Biden to you, Howie. Please
Yes.
address her by her correct title.
Yeah, and don't confuse her with Carson.
Yeah, no, right.
Just because he's an MD, that doesn't mean you have to call him Dr. Carson. He's a Republican.
Just because he works on brains doesn't mean you need to talk to him like that. Hey, Howie, I told you about this story today, and I was shocked you hadn't heard of it yet, because it's something that normally I think you'd run with. Did you read the story about the Lincoln Project's problem?
I have it ready to go, Grace. Did you get to it today?
I did not, Howie. You know what?
I'm glad you left it for me.
I really thought to myself, I'm not going to do this justice. This calls for Howie Carr.
I thought to myself, is this guy's from he's a never Trumper, used to work for McCain, used to work for Kasich. He has been outed apparently as a perv. He likes to offer young men jobs, and he calls them my boy. And I thought to myself, Grace, what does he think he is? A priest in the Boston Archdiocese, or does he think he's former member of the Massachusetts congressional delegation?
Well, Howie, the Lincoln Project, that group of guys, they have more skeletons in their closet than the Kennedys. I mean, they have stories about every single one of them has, tax issues and problems like that. But this is the first thing I've heard of a perv issue.
Yeah, and how about the one that had they want to round people up if they have a Confederate flag anywhere. They want to get the Dukes of Hazzard off the air. But this guy had a Confederate flag, one of them, on his on his
cooler.
His cooler, his ice bucket. Yeah, exactly.
This is the Grace Curley Show. Be right back.
Here at the Howie Carr Radio Network, we're all about saving you money. We want you to cut out the middleman and buy direct from our great sponsors. And to help you save, I've put together a cheat sheet. For instance, if you go to EdenPure.com, you'll find the Thunder